Under the same moon, we share the love, embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world share in love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Watching the World. We have a great show in store for you tonight. I have a guest that should be coming on later. Right now, he's stuck in traffic, so we'll see how that develops. In the meantime, what I am looking to do tonight is show you guys the details in regards to Karmelo Anthony's case. That's going to be basically closely tied to the courtroom notes. As I go through the information, I'm going to show you outside sources of people saying the same thing that I'm saying. I'm going to show you from different levels. Actually, even the individual that was also inside the courtroom with me that took notes. Here's the problem. People have spun a narrative in regards to this case, and a lot of people ran with it. So when I came out to actually tell you guys what really happened, not only that, I tied it to the video. Now you have people that are greatly upset because basically the cat is out the bag. I was in the courtroom and I really tried to make sure that I took very good notes to help you guys to understand how this all developed. So first I'm going to start off. I want to show you guys a clear point, because most of the individuals that said that they had seen the video at different places, they basically said that they saw 4 individuals walk into the tent. And what did they say happened? They say that they said the twins started to attack Karmelo in 20 seconds, right? I've already debunked it once. I'm going to debunk it again tonight, but this time I'm going to show you from different sources. I'm actually going to show you from sort of a mainstream media. I'm going to show you from the standpoint of a person that's very effective. Again, Neek at Night, she was actually in the courtroom as well. So we're going to get into all of this tonight. And I want you to please keep your eye out on the actual timeline so that you can understand how this develops. Her story, her information that came from court ties nicely to what I told you in regards to the timeline. So first off, in order to get this started and for you guys to understand the actual layout, I think it's very important for you to take notes and then compare what I'm saying, especially when the transcripts come out. You'll be able to see that I was right on point. So the first order of business before we get started, I want to give you the timeline that we were given in court from the prosecution when they opened up this case, okay? So here's the first point that you need to write down. Number 1 is that the twins and another boy, they actually walked into the tent at 9:54 in the morning. Okay, so document that 9:54 in the morning, you're going to actually see 6 people walk into the tent. The narrative online is that they were walking with a purpose so that they could go and beat the hell out of Karmelo Anthony, right? I'm going to slow this down. I'm going to walk you through it. Okay, forget what I'm saying. I'm going to show you these facts, okay? According to the courtroom testimony, Karmelo arrives 2 minutes later, right? I'm gonna actually show that to you, but he arrives 2 minutes later at 9:56. At 10 o'clock and 48 seconds, the fight begins. That's when Austin goes over and he attacks Karmelo. As simple as that. He was attacked. A lot of people don't want to see it as self-defense. I respect that. But from what I gather from this case, I saw self-defense. And I stand on that. I've stood on that from the very beginning. Okay? I do not feel he should have received murder one. And I know early on, I've been fighting with a lot of individuals that felt like he should have gotten life and all of this stuff. I can only tell you my experience from court, and I'm tying that to all of the remorse and other witness testimony that he actually, I'm going to show you where he actually breaks down. So this is going to be a slow night. I'm going to show you the facts. At 10:05 in 30 seconds, the police officer arrives. All of this we're going to document tonight. You're going to be able to see it quite well. But first, I want to establish to you that not only am I saying that Karmelo Anthony arrived 2 minutes after the twins. See, that's the big point of contention on the internet, right? No, Karmelo was sitting there 8 minutes. He was there first. Okay, so listen closely. This is an individual that was actually in the courtroom. She is awesome, and she really breaks things down at a high level. So let's check out Nika at night and notice how she's going to substantiate what I just told you as far as the timeline. Check it out. Write it down so you can make sure you get it accurate. So when people try to bring you the nonsense about Karmelo was there before, I know, no, he wasn't. We're going to show you that tonight. So I'm giving you the facts, and I want you to write it down, document it, so you can see that we stand on truth over here, because we ruffled a few feathers, and I understand that people are now upset because their feathers got ruffled, but that's not my problem. Let's get to it.
So, school for
So this is Nika at night. She was in the courtroom with me. I can tell you where she sat each day because we sat so close. Every day she comes home from court, and you know what she does? She goes through her notes, right? So listen to what she says. I see a lot of people just came in. I'm going to give you the timeline one more time. At 9:54, Austin arrives along with Hunter and the other boys. At 9:56, 2 minutes later, Karmelo arrives, okay? At 10 o'clock and 48 seconds, the fight begins. That's when Austin attacks Karmelo, okay? And at 10 o'clock and 53 seconds, the prosecution says the suspect started running. And if you've seen the video, you know that they're talking about Karmelo running out of the back of the tent, okay? And then at 10:05 and 30 seconds, the police arrive. So listen to Nika at night. She's going to tell you exactly what I just told you as far as what time these boys arrived.
the track meet. Karmelo. Oh no. He was there with his brother, and then Karmelo was along with
Guys, shout out to Nika at night. She's amazing. Definitely, you want to follow her. She covers these cases. We cover Sean Diddy Combs together. She does a fabulous job. You're going to see that.
Centennial at the school for the track meet. The coach sent a text to Austin that he needed them to step up and help. The rain began to fall. Some teams went to the buses. Some were on the field. Some with their teams in the tents. 6 minutes in the murder. Austin and his brother. 6 minutes before the murder. Austin and his brother entered the tent. You will see normal activity in the tent. 2 minutes after Austin enters,
Okay, so let's do the math on what she just said, right? She says 6 minutes before the murder, Austin and his brother and the boys entered the tent, right? So I told you the murder, the stabbing happened at what time? 10 o'clock, right? So she says 6 minutes before that. What does that mean? That's 9:54. That's the same time that I told you guys that they arrived in the tent. So already her notes and my notes are jiving together, okay? I'm really going to drive this home tonight because people are so ridiculous online. I want at least the watchers that tune in to this channel to understand that I keep integrity so that you can drown out the noise for people who wasn't in the courtroom, right? Have no clue about the case. They're just running with every little piece of wind and trash in the air. Okay, so anyway, notice what she says. Let's check her out.
Karmelo is visible. He makes a beeline into the memorial tent.
Okay, so notice what she just said. I'm going to back it up a little bit. Okay, notice this point.
And the murder, Austin and his brother, 6 minutes before the murder, Austin and his brother entered the tent.
That's at 9:54. That's what I just told you guys, right?
You will see normal activity in the tent. 2 minutes after Austin enters, Karmelo is visible. He makes a beeline into the memorial tent.
2 minutes. Did you guys hear what Nika Knight said? 2 minutes after the twins arrived, Karmelo comes into the tent. He makes a beeline into the tent. Did you catch that? I have to play it again for the people who are trying to say Karmelo was in the tent before the twins. Let's go back. This is Nika Knight. Check her out. She's right on the money. Check it out.
The coach sent a text to Austin that he needed them to step up and help. The rain began to fall. Some teams went to the buses. Some were on the field. Some with their teams in the tents. 6 minutes, and the murder, Austin and his brother, 6 minutes before the murder, Austin and his brother entered the tent. You will see normal activity in the tent. 2 minutes after Austin enters, Karmelo is visible. He makes a beeline into the memorial tent. You will see more normal.
So again, here we have another witness that was in court. She's literally reading you her notes, and she's recanting the same thing that I've been expressing to you guys for over a week now, right? So that really helps you to understand that Karmelo arrived after the twins. Let's listen to her a little bit more.
Activity in the tent. The other kids asked, why was he there? They treat the tent like a locker room to protect valuables from theft. Austin steps up to tell him to leave. After several people told him to leave, Austin took the bait. Okay.
See that? Several people told him to leave, but it was Austin that took the bait and actually attacked him, right? This is actually coming from the prosecution. They could have easily told you some other details, but they kept all of this honed in on Austin.
So he's basically shaping it as like Austin was baited by Karmelo because Karmelo didn't listen to him when he said leave. So that was Karmelo baiting Austin into hitting him.
Man, I really like Nika Knight. She is so amazing. And sorry, in this particular case, she's really backing up what we heard in court, right? But I'm going to show you from the mainstream media another individual that's going to show you that Karmelo came into the tent after the twins. So we're going to take away Nika Knight and let's check out someone else that you might understand.
Nice. We're about to show you 3 critical up-close videos of what happened under the tent. These were enhanced by Robbie Harvey, a true crime social media journalist on X.
Okay, so I already broke this down, but I have to do it again because of all of the fluff in the air. She's going to show you and break it down at exactly when Karmelo actually walks into the tent. The same thing that we showed you guys the other night. Check it out. This is mainstream. She has like 4 million followers or whatever, but just check it out.
In this close-up video at the top of the tent, you see Karmelo Anthony walk in and sit down under the tent where the murder occurred. Karmelo runs for another team. Again.
Remember, I showed you this the other night. So Karmelo is walking in and he sits down right behind Hunter. Let's go back and check it out. The boys are already sitting. I'm going to walk you through this slow, but I want you to remember what she's saying too. She's actually backing up what Nika Knight and myself has said, okay?
In this close-up video at the top of the tent,
you see Karmelo walking in and sitting right there in this gap under the tent to the far right. That's where Hunter is sitting. Karmelo walks in. You can see him walking with his backpack. Look at him.
You see Karmelo Anthony walk in and sit down under the tent where the...
This is what I've been telling you. This is exact thing that Ratchet and I told you guys the other night. He walks in. Let's check it out again.
Murder occurred.
See that?
Karmelo runs for another team. Again. There was no reason for him.
Okay, so now we have multiple sources. I know some people are going to walk away and say, no, he was under the tent. Oh, there's a fake video. But anyway, let me get to this and break it down. Thank you guys. Hit the like button, share, and subscribe. I'm going to show you now the entire video, and I'm going to show you people, places, and things in accordance to what we actually learned in court. Okay, so we've already established, I think I've done a great job in showing that Karmelo came in after the twins. I've also given you other sources to back up what was actually said in court. Now I'm going to show you the formation that the three main boys are walking into the tent. Okay, so we're going to start there. Let's check this out. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. Okay, so right here, let me get all three. You see here on the left-hand side, that's Austin. He's wearing black. You see the boy in the blue on the far outside? That's his brother Hunter. As testified in court, he was slightly smaller than Austin. And then the boy that has the backpack, he's walking behind. He actually testified in court of how they actually arrived here, okay? So notice how they're walking together and where they're located. They're going to walk this way all the way to the tent. It's very important that you note this or draw a diagram so when we actually get them to the tent and I show you where each one sit. Tonight I'm here for it. I'm going to give you so many details that if you actually sit here and pay attention, you'll be able to tell people exactly how this went down. Okay, so thank you guys for being here. Like, share, subscribe. This is how they started off walking. They keep this formation. Okay, so now that I've shown you that, we're going to pull up this video actually came from the website from Collin County. Okay, so we're going to pull up the actual video that they put out. Okay, and we're going to walk right through it. So here you have the guys walking. First, let me take it back a little bit. Initially, when people came out, they say, hey, I saw it in 4K. I would like you guys to, if you can, really take notes if you really follow this channel. I want to explain to you because I was in the courtroom when they played the video. Before we went to court, individuals said they saw a video in 4K. So basically the camera view that we have now is actually the east camera view. There's a west view that covers the other half, but there's a gap in between the both of the cameras, okay? It's in 4K, and in order to see it at its best, you have to watch it on a 4K television. So these individuals actually went in and they saw it at the ISD on 4K, and that's why they came back and they say, listen, we could see raindrops, we could see birds flying, okay? But here's what we learned in court from the first witness in this particular case. He was a video expert, and he says, right now, in this particular setting, everything is very clear. But when you zoom it in, because it's so far away, it becomes pixelated. It starts to get blurred, okay? So that's why in court, they were trying to show us what was happening under the tent. And so that's why you guys probably saw the blurred view of what's happening under the tent, okay? I'm going to show you how they used it against Karmelo. It's going to be very important when I break that down. But I want to take this in sequence so you can understand. So right now, you see the view, it's amazing, but when we zoom in, it's going to be so blurry, you won't be able to make out the figures. So now we're going to see, here's the point I was making. So in court, we had about 5 screens. We were watching the zoomed in video actually on regular televisions, okay? So the quality is very low. This is what they initially showed the jurors. We went out on a break, and when we came back in, they had a special 4K television that only the jurors and the attorneys were able to see. So we came back in and I'm like, man, I want to see this video, because the video that the expert had updated or enhanced, he actually put those bubbles. You see, he put the cloud orb around Carmelo as he's running. So it was the video expert that did that. So they show it to the jurors. Now, just as a side note, for those of you who are interested in the case, Carmelo's sitting at the table by himself. And I felt like, in my opinion, that was probably a bad idea, because he's sitting at the table. It makes him even more nervous than he already is. He's actually shaking. You can observe him shaking almost as though it's some sort of health disorder. But that's his personal business. So I'm just giving you a description. He's actually taking notes. He's very interested in his case, despite what they say in the mainstream media. Okay. So I spent most of this case, the earlier part, I spent fighting people, not fighting, but arguing with people who were trying to say, oh, he deserved murder one, give him the death, all that, right? So now I get distracted from that, and I'm debating with people to say he's jumped and you're wrong. So this is just all chaos. So this is why I have to do this and break it down. But more importantly, I have to show it to you. So get back to this video. I just gave you the context of what was in court. So now we're going to see the boys walking in, and they're going to actually go to the tent. All right? They're going to go to the tent. Let's check it out. All right. So they're walking along. In the video that you hear from Hunter, he says that they're actually coming from the middle school, which was probably about a 5 to 10 minute walk. I'm not sure. So they're walking back, and little does Hunter or Austin realize what's about to occur, and neither does Carmelo. So you have these 6 guys walking along, and they're just going to the tent. Some people say that they're going to walk to this tent. They're going to surround Carmelo that's sitting in the tent. In 20 seconds, they're going to start to beat him. I've already showed you guys that Carmelo at this point is not in the tent. Okay, so this is very important that you note this point right here. I showed you the formation of how they're walking. They actually walk up and they approach the tent the same way. But I want you guys to realize and notice that there's a gap in the tent on the right-hand side. Do you guys see that gap? There is no one sitting right straight through that tent. Now, I already showed you Austin is the guy that's closest to what we're viewing. He's closest to us that are watching this video. The little guy is lagging behind and has the backpack. He's wearing black and gray. Hunter has on blue, right? And it's very important in this video right now, when I play it, for you to actually understand where Hunter sits down at, okay? You're going to see it very clearly. He's going to sit down because, as Megan mentioned, Carmelo is going to come in and sit right behind him. That's exactly what we heard in court. That's what Neek at Night basically just told you. So check it out. Notice where Hunter is the guy. Okay, Hunter is the guy. He's the highest on the bleacher right now. He's the first one that's walking up. He's going to walk up and he's going to sit in that gap. And notice when he sits down, there's nobody sitting behind him. And on top of that, notice that they don't go and surround a boy and start beating him in 20 seconds. It's very important that you gather this, because people walk away, they don't listen to the whole story, and they just keep on with a narrative that's false. So I'm here to show you guys. So check out Hunter. Notice where he sits. You're going to see his little head go sit right in that gap. You see where he's sitting? He's sitting dead, and he's the first one sitting down. See his head? He sits down right now, and he settles and then his head goes down. He pulls his head back up. Do you guys see that? So now in that gap, you see a little W. Does anybody see that? Let me see what's happening here. Does anybody see that? I got to make sure people are with me. Does anybody understand what I'm saying here? Do you see where Hunter just sat down at? Let's see. Do you see where Hunter just sat down? Okay, so you see where he sat down. Thank you. Okay, so notice, according to what people are saying online, they didn't sit down. They actually were standing and they went to beat up Karmelo. Right? Do you see that? You see they sat down? I'm going to break down where Eddie is sitting once Karmelo walks in. So I'm going to break, by the end of this video, you're going to know where everybody's sitting. But I have to show you because people are spinning the false narrative, okay? So you see where Hunter just sat down. I'm going to pull it back, okay? Okay, so let's pull it back. You see the gap, okay? I'm going to show you Hunter. Hunter actually steps up on the bleacher before the rest. Right there, that's Hunter. He's at the farthest right of the tent. He walks in. You see his blue? He sits right up in the middle of this gap. You see him sitting down? Looks like he has on some white shoes or something, or maybe socks. And then the other people sit down below Hunter. You see Hunter's head right now? That's Hunter sitting down, and he's going to drop his head right now. He pulls his head back up. That's Hunter. You can actually track it how the way they walk. I showed you how they entered into the arena, and they walk with that formation all the way in. Okay, so people are actually getting it. Okay, so now we have to stop it here because I tell this story so many times. People walk away and they say, oh, no, Karmelo was there first. Now I'm going to show you when Karmelo arrives, okay? But first, we have to deal with the lies that are being told. If they sat down, how did they surround Karmelo, who's not even in the tent? How is that even possible, right? Okay, so check this out. Hunter sitting down. Now we're going to back up. I want you to take note of where Austin sits down, okay? Austin is going to sit down by this pole that's right through the middle of the tent. Do you guys see the pole? Do you see the pole? I don't think we have any moderators here tonight, so it's going to, okay, we do have New Jersey in, okay, thank you. We're light on moderators tonight, but anyway, it is what it is. Okay, so you see that pole, right? Austin is going to go, and he's going to sit right in that direction and pay attention to where he goes. He's walking. Let me position him for you. So Austin now, we know where Hunter sat. Austin is wearing the black. He's the closest to us that are watching from the camera, right? See, okay, so he goes up and he sits by the pole, okay? The other guys, they fall in line below Hunter, okay? Hunter right there, his head is going down, his head is back up, all right? So according to the courtroom testimony, 2 minutes from now, we're going to see Karmelo walk into the tent, okay? 2 minutes from now, we're going to actually see him walk into the tent, okay? So let's get to that. And I didn't stop the video, so let me go back, sorry. Okay, so this is when they arrive, okay? So we're going to play it, and we're going to wait 2 minutes for Karmelo to arrive. And while we were sitting in court, we're like, well, after Karmelo arrives, we're waiting for this whole fight to happen, and that takes another 4 minutes, okay? It takes a whole nother 4 minutes. So right now we're waiting for the 2 minute mark. And then you're going to see, just as I showed you in the video with Megan, you're going to see Karmelo walk in with his backpack. And according to the courtroom testimony, he sits right behind Hunter. And you're going to actually see that. Okay. And according to the courtroom testimony, Eddie is sitting to the right of Karmelo, because he is the one that was instrumental in calling or having Karmelo come to the tent. They knew each other. 10 days prior to this, they had another track meet. And according to the courtroom testimony, they were actually sitting together. We're going to check that out on the courtroom exhibits. So keep your eyes trained on the gap in the back of the tent below the yellow and above the heads. And you're going to see Karmelo walk in and sit behind Hunter. All right. Karmelo will be walking up shortly. Roughly 2 minutes. That's what the courtroom testimony was. There he goes. He walks in. You see him walking in, and he sits right behind Hunter. So that's when Karmelo arrives under the tent. Okay, let's play that again. Let's see. Right there, if you look in the back, right over top of their heads, you could actually see Karmelo walk in. He sits down right behind Hunter. Right there, that's Karmelo walking in, sitting behind Hunter. That's courtroom testimony, okay? And remember, we saw the video in court as well. So now we know that people are not telling the truth, because Karmelo wasn't even in the tent when the twins arrived. So how can you beat a guy? How can you beat a guy that's not in the tent? Right? We're going to zoom in later. Right now, we have to go through one video at a time, okay? All right, Mashona, I'm so happy to see that you're here. Please help weed out some of the people that are here, just especially saying disparaging things about Karmelo. We're going to get them out of here for this nonsense. This is not that type of night. Okay, so here's the key part, guys. Karmelo arrives now 2 minutes after, and I hate to really do this to you guys, but unfortunately, we're going to have to do it one more time. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you one more time. Well, actually, we'll do it at the end. I'm going to show you again what Nika Knight said, and also Megan, okay? These are all the people that are substantiating exactly what I said. Nika Knight was in court. So what we're going to do now, we have to wait 4 whole minutes before the fight to happen. Remember these people that said 4 people walked into the tent, surrounded Karmelo? Carmelo's not even there. So 20 seconds later, they're beating Karmelo. I've already debunked that. Is there anybody in the audience that's still having trouble with that thought? It's not about whether Karmelo is guilty or not. This is not the discussion tonight. Okay? Is there anybody that wants to discuss or needs help understanding this point? Okay, because I think I've laid it out pretty well. I showed you other people that substantiate the points. Okay, so it seems like most people here are understanding that Karmelo comes in 2 minutes after. All right. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, so we're all on the same page. Okay. I'm gonna make it bigger. We're gonna do this in stages so that everybody can actually understand what's happening, okay? All right, D-Cran. Sorry, I'll make you a mod in a few shakes, all right, D-Cran? Thank you very much. I'm gonna make you a mod in a minute. So now we're gonna start the clock right now, and we gotta wait 4 minutes before the fight happens. James, you have to stop with the guilty nonsense. All right, we're over that. This is not that discussion. Right now, we're just going through the facts of the case so everybody can see with video evidence that the things that I've been saying about the case are accurate, okay? So let's get started. We're going to wait 4 minutes. We're going to sit here and wait 4 minutes for the fight to happen. I started the clock. There we go. So right now, according to Eddie, Karmelo says something like, Now, of course, these guys are slanting. A lot of them were not telling the truth. I know you guys earlier on, I was going back and forth with the group who said, oh, the kids wouldn't say anything wrong, right? Or they wouldn't lie. So now I had to get away from that to deal with another problem, right? But now I'm over both sides, really. And I probably won't touch on this much more going forward, okay? So this will probably be my last breakdown of this. So we're waiting these 4 minutes. Eddie says something like, Karmelo said, you guys suck ass. And that's what these guys kind of went crazy because he was probably talking about football. That's what it seemed like. But here's the deal. Because the coach had already actually kicked Austin off the team, those words probably hit much harder than they would typically hit. So now you start to understand why this could have gotten out of hand, right? It could have started off as just a light statement because Eddie was his friend. It wasn't like he went to a group. It's not like you go to a family reunion, you don't know anybody, and you say, hey, the Jones family suck ass. All of a sudden, everybody's saying, who is this guy? Get him out of here, right? Okay. We have it in court that 10 days prior to this event that Austin lost his life, that they were actually sitting together. We're going to actually see that. So I'm talking, you know why? Because we're waiting 4 whole minutes for the fight to kick off. This video is 15 minutes long, and it's going to show you basically how everything fell in line. So right now they're going back and forth and talking about that. Some of them are probably telling him to leave. There's only about 4 minutes. And then you're going to see the fight. I'm going to break down the fight for you. But when we get to the fight, I want you to remember where Karmelo is sitting and also where Hunter is sitting, because that's going to be very important. Also where Austin went and sat down at. All right. So you see the girl walk up. She's in a yellow poncho, right? Okay. So we're getting closer. Notice the people that are walking along right now is pretty empty. Okay, so you see a guy, another person, and they're walking along the bottom of the bleachers. They're headed to their tent. They're minding their business. They're not even probably thinking about the yellow tent that belonged to Austin and Hunter. Okay? So watch as they just walk along. You see how long we've been waiting? And Karmelo arrived maybe 3 minutes ago now. And we still have to wait another minute before the fight to happen. That's nothing like what you've been hearing from people on the internet talking about. They saw a video where 4 guys went into the tent, surrounded him, and started beating on him, right? So here we go. You see these individuals walking by. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then here's another 2, but they're just walking past the tent. They don't even stop at the tent. Notice they don't go into the tent. They're just going to. We've been watching people walking by for the last 4 minutes. All right, so now we're getting close to the fight. When Austin is going to stand up, and when the fight starts, that's when I'm going to start to explain the locations. Okay, so notice you're going to see Austin go right to the head. That head, when Karmelo sat down, you can see that head right there in the same position. He's been sitting there, and he's sitting behind Hunter. Okay, we're almost at the fight. You can see Austin standing up already. He's by the pole. Look at him. He pushes Karmelo, he bounces back, okay? Now, I want you guys to note that. He pushes Karmelo, and you see him bounce back. In court, as far as the prosecution, they said that this is when Karmelo plunged a knife into him. And when you listen to the mainstream media, a lot of them say, well, all of these kids said that it was a light push, but they don't tell you that Hudson called it what did he call it? A lineman's drill. That's what Hudson called it. The guy that testified, Jay, before him, he actually said that Austin went to grab up. He grabbed, and he explained it. He grabbed Karmelo by his hoodie, like he was pulling him up. And the defense attorney is like, well, was it more of a pull or a push? And he described like he was trying to basically pull him up. So imagine somebody's trying to pick you up off the ground on top of some metal bleachers. I'm just giving you an idea. What would you do? Let's pause here. Tell us what would you do at that point if somebody's going to pick you up, right? What happens when somebody picks you up? I want to see it in the comments. We got to slow this down today so people can get the point. Put a 1 in the chat if you will let somebody pick you up, right? Put a 2 if no. Let's see what you have to say. Let's go. Calvin, the attorney, he's already broken down the distribution of the force and how it needs to be equal. But again, we still have to factor in the fact that the media is not telling you that this is more than a light push. I'm just here to tell you what was in court. I'm not giving you my perspective on it. I'm just telling you what happened, right? Most people are saying in the comments, you're not going to let somebody pick you up off the ground when you're sitting on the bleachers, right? To pick you up off the bleachers, because once they have you in the air, who knows what could happen to you, right? We're going to get to the fact that you can't have certain weapons or whatever you want to call it at the event, right? But right now we're just going through the timeline as to what we could see. So most people are saying they would not allow someone to pick them up or to do a lineman's drill on them. You would have to defend yourself in some way. That's all we're saying. At the basics of this, you have some sort of self-defense, despite what the mainstream media is trying to tell you. Okay, so now that we have that out the way, I want you guys to look back at the video. And I want you to note where Karmelo is sitting. You could actually see his head. It's the same place that the guy came in and sat behind Hunter. Do you guys get it? Do you guys get it? I need to know. Before we can move on, I need to know that you guys understand where Karmelo is sitting at. Can you see it in the video? Okay, so you guys are with me. Okay, we get a lot of yeses. Okay, so we're on the same page. Are we on the same page, folks, that Karmelo was not in the tent when the twins arrived, right? He was not in the tent when the twins arrived. He came 2 minutes later. I showed that to you. So, did you guys observe that? Did you get that? So we can move on. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So we're on the same page. Thank you guys for answering. All right. So everybody's getting the point. I have to slow it down like this for a few people that are having trouble. Okay. So now we're going to focus on. So now you can see where Karmelo's head is, right? Now his head, first it was Hunter's head, was at the very top. His head was the top head, right? Because he was sitting in that gap. I showed you how he went and sat there, right? But once Karmelo walked in and sat behind him, now Karmelo's head is the highest in the tent, in the gap, right? So right now you're seeing Karmelo's head, but basically Hunter is sitting right in front of him. And I actually showed this to you, so I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So now you saw Austin go over and he pushes Karmelo. He's right in that same spot where you saw the individual come in and walk in right behind Hunter. Okay, so there you have it. Now, this is what I want you to realize, okay? After Hunter goes over, it's all within 4 or 5 seconds. In court, they said it was 5 seconds, okay? But it's actually about 4 seconds, it seems. But in court, and I want to take you guys back, okay? At 9:54, Austin arrives. 9:56, Karmelo arrives. Okay, we have that clear. At 10 o'clock and 48 seconds, the fight began. So we just saw the fight begin. And notice this. So we have 48 seconds when the fight began. This is what the prosecution said. At 10 o'clock and 53 seconds, the suspect runs. We saw that happen with Karmelo. 5 seconds, and he's out of there. Okay? So here's the deal. I'm going to show you a better video, but it's important that you grasp what's happening now. So we're going to go through this a bit until we're all on the same page. I know not everybody's we have a few trolls and people, whatever. But anyway, I don't care what anybody call me. If you sit through this video and you come to that conclusion, then it is what it is. But I think most individuals that actually follow this channel, and if you sit and you watch this entire video, I'm showing you what the facts are basically from the video, right? So here we go. Check this out. I know I hurt a lot of feelings. I expect people to cry. A hit dog will holler. So let them holler on. I could care less, right? Because the truth, I don't have to defend the truth. I'm giving you guys the fact, right? So anyway, let's get back to business, guys, because I'm here to give you guys the facts. It's very important. I'm not telling you bullshit stories that people are saying online. Oh, yeah, I already debunked everything that you guys saw. So what are the people going to say now? What are they going to say now, right? We have the facts in the video. I broke it down for you. Anyway, check this out. Notice when Hunter attacks Karmelo, you see Carmelo's head. His head it's like a Christmas tree. Do you guys see that under the right side of the tent? That's actually Karmelo, and then Hunter sitting right in front of him. Okay? You could actually see Austin standing up at this point. It's almost like his arms is out forward toward Karmelo. Okay? So when he pushes him, in about a minute, you can see Karmelo right there. Notice where Austin's body goes, right to that peak of his head. You're going to see it. And they're going to rock. You're going to actually see that Karmelo head pushes forward right here. Boom. Karmelo rocked back, right? Now, Austin rocked back to the left. This is what we heard in court. Now, what I want you guys to notice, that you see that peak of the head is still there. It's moving, right? It moved from its position to the left. But notice when Karmelo gets up and runs out the back of the tent, now Hunter is revealed, because previously they both were the same blob. And you're going to actually see Hunter run out the back of the tent behind Karmelo. And according to the courtroom testimony, he's going to realize his brother is hurt, and he's going to turn around and run back into the tent. All right, so pay attention to this. I'm going to show it to you better, but it's important to catch it here too. Karmelo ran. That's Hunter standing up now, right? Now watch Hunter's movement. Now he's the only person in the gap. Watch this. See him crawl out? You see his left leg go up behind the tent? Now you're going to see him stop. Karmelo's going to cut to the right. Hunter is going to cut to the left and come back, because his brother is actually falling down the tent. Watch this. He hooks around and he comes back. Karmelo keeps running. Nathan runs after, but he stops. He says he went back, and they're going to follow Karmelo out. Okay. So let's go back, and I want you guys to see this. It's very important. You can actually make out Hunter when he runs out the back of the tent. This is courtroom testimony. I mean, if we're not going to accept courtroom testimony, like, why are we even going to court? You may not agree with it, but I'm just here to tell you what we heard in court. So let me find where this whole fight. Let's see. Okay, so let's go back right here. Okay, so watch this. Austin is the big guy standing to the left, right by the pole. You see Karmelo's head. His head's like a Christmas tree at the top. There's actually him with Hunter sitting in front of him. Okay, watch Austin attack Karmelo right here. Boom. They rock back left. Okay, I paused it. Now you're going to see Karmelo remained seating the whole time, testified in court. He never got up until he ran out. Okay? This is courtroom testimony. You actually could probably discern that from the video. He's going to run out of the tent now. You're going to see, watch this. Now, you see Karmelo's head at the top of the tent, but you see under the tent, what do you see? In that same blob, now all you see is Hunter because he's standing up, right? Now watch you notice his legs. You're going to actually see his left leg go up first. He's trying to run behind Karmelo. Watch this. Right there. You see that? You see how he crawled out the back of the tent? That's Hunter. He was sitting, I showed you guys from the beginning, and also with the courtroom testimony, he was sitting in front of Karmelo. Now Karmelo takes off. And then you see Austin falling down, and he lands at the base of the tent. Okay? Now, here's what you also need to understand about this. Eddie was sitting to the right of Karmelo. When he gave his testimony, Toby Shook, who was a defense attorney, he was asking him, like, how far were you away from him? Was it a couple people between you? You know, a couple spaces, not people, but spaces, you know. But the bottom line, he's sitting there and he testified, right? So I want you guys to understand. If I'm, yeah, I guess you guys could get it. If I'm Karmelo, then to my side, right? And just line it up with the tent. To this side of me is Eddie. Eddie says that Austin came at Karmelo so hard and knocked Eddie out the way. Okay, so tie this up to the tent because I'm sitting pretty much like Karmelo was. Eddie's on this side, okay? So I'm going to show you again. Now keep that in mind because you can see Eddie's head when Austin goes up because now Eddie is on the left-hand side. He's on the left-hand side of Austin when Austin is approaching Karmelo. And he knocks him down. He knocked him out the way. You're going to actually be able to see all the force. And this shows that actually Austin came at him with a lot of force and knocked him out the way. Okay? So anyway, let's go back and check it out real quick. We're almost through this. I know it's a long process, but we have to get these facts together. And I'm showing you what we learned in court. So here we go. He's running now. We're going to go back under the tent. Okay, so check it out. You're going to actually see Austin is standing here. His arms, you could tell, looks like right there. Okay, so he goes. Did you see Karmelo? He actually pushes back like that. There's nobody sitting there. He pushes back. You can see his head go back like that. At this point, that's when the prosecution says that he was plunged with a knife, right? Now, check this out. Look at Austin rock back, you see? And he eventually falls and he knocks down a lot of people along the way. Now, right now I have it still, but when I release this, you're going to see Karmelo run out the back. And once he runs out, all you're going to see is Hunter stand up. He's going to be standing up at this point. Watch this. Boom. Okay. So now you see Karmelo's head at the top of the tent. And in that space where Karmelo was sitting and Hunter sitting below him in the bleacher, now you see Hunter standing up. And if you look close enough, you're going to see his leg go up. He runs first with his left leg. It's almost like he was on his knees and crawling up. Check it out. See that? That's Hunter running out from under the tent, and you see Karmelo above it. He hears his brother. Watch this. You're going to see him hook around, and he's going to come back into the tent because he heard his brother falling. Watch this. Boom. Now you see him come back down for the tent, right? He doesn't go out and chase behind him because according to the courtroom testimony, when he heard his brother, as some of the people in the tent says, Austin let out this big scream. And that's probably where his brother heard him and decided to come back. So now I think we should be on the same page. But before we move on, is there anybody that needs to work through this? I'm going to show you through a closer video, but for now, is there anybody in the audience that understands what I'm saying? Do we still need to go through this? Okay. All right. All right. So you understand. Okay. Okay. Great. 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 Thank you, guys. Okay. Good deal. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good deal. Okay. So we can move on. Okay. Good deal. All right. I'm going to go back with the larger picture or video and go through it. So now Karmelo is on the run. He falls down. Two guys chase him. Nathan stops. He goes back, right? Now, the prosecution tried to paint a picture that Karmelo tried to flee the event, right? He tried to get away. I'm going to show you that he actually runs to the field. The prosecution was not honest in their opening arguments because the video shows us something different. Watch this. He's running, right? Right here, he could have jetted out. You see those cars out there? He's an athlete, right? He could have jetted out the parking lot right there. You know what he does? He's running to try to find a familiar face. Look, he could have ran out right here. If the prosecution was right, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but we're going to get to it tonight, right? But I also have to deal with the people on the left side that are getting their facts wrong, and then they have the nerve to run their mouth about me, right? But I'm going to debunk them tonight. I'm here for it. So, but I'm also going to deal with the prosecution and all the people that think he should have gotten murder one with it. At worst, he should have gotten manslaughter. I know you don't want to hear it, but I was in court and I'm telling you what I know. The prosecution said that he threw his knife, tried to hide it, basically. That's the picture they were trying to paint. And that he ran like he was trying to find the exit. The boy clearly ran right by the exit right here. If I was running from somebody, look at this. I'm just showing you what the prosecution said versus what we saw in the video. Look at it. He's running. He could run out right here. He's an athlete, right? He could jump the fence if there's a fence there. But no, what does he do? He runs over by a coach. And the coach, her name is, I believe, is Tiffany. And she actually said that she was able to stop him with one hand. Does that sound like somebody aggressively trying to get away? No, not at all. She said she stopped him, put her hand on him, and she handed him off to the big black coach. His name was Vincent Hooper. And Vincent Hooper, he tells a story that I'll never forget. And I think it touched most people who had a heart inside of the courtroom, right? But he says that once, because she says that this guy stabbed somebody or whatever she said, the coach that you're going to see here put his hand around Karmelo. He says, he put his hand around him and says, son, what did you do? Karmelo says, I told him not to put his hands on me. He said he walks up and then he gets distracted and he walks away. Okay. And guess what? Karmelo doesn't try to run. That would have been an opportune time for Karmelo to run if what the prosecution said. I know what the fact is, but tonight we're talking about the entire video. So if you don't like it, you can leave. I don't want to keep hearing about, we know he was found guilty. Okay. So we don't need to keep discussing that part. I would say time out anybody that's here to just bring issues or more trouble. We're trying to explain the facts of the case. So when Hooper came back to Karmelo, he said he put his arms around him and he said, son, you ruined your life if this young man dies, okay? Because you'll see when Hooper walks away, he's probably told the seriousness of what happened to Austin. And you're going to actually see Karmelo's going to break out into this jump and he's crying. And you're going to see the coach actually embrace him, hug him. And then you're going to see Karmelo put his arm around the actual coach. All right. So check this out. There's Karmelo And the little short lady, she's a white coach. You'll see her. She's lagging behind. She's the one that stopped Karmelo. You can see her behind those two figures. You see her? Now, you could also see, if you pay attention, that this coach, he's taller than Karmelo. He's 6'2", 240 pounds. That was his testimony in court. You see him walking with his hand around Carmelo's shoulder, just like I just told you. Now he's going to walk away and he's going to get an update from somebody, and they're going to tell him the seriousness of what happened to Austin. See, does Carmelo try to run like what the prosecution was saying? No, he's standing there. So the prosecution started off slanting the narrative. I'm just here to set the facts straight. If you watch the video, now, in the opening arguments for the defense, they said, listen, I know that the prosecution told you all of this, right? But I'm going to tell you that when you watch the video, you're not going to see that. They said he actually, when Austin ran into him with this move, and he pulled out the knife. He actually went up 3 bleachers. We saw that. He dropped the knife about 3 bleachers up. He didn't even bother to take his backpack. He just ran. And we saw where he ran to. He ran to the coaches. He didn't run out by those cars and try to get out and all that. So we need to stop the narrative. Sometimes in court, I see they try to really push it into a very bad way for the defendant, while not even telling the truth. What are we doing here, right? So at any rate, we see what's happening here. Now notice what happens when this coach comes back to Karmelo that did not try to run away. You see, he put his arms around him again, and he just said, you're going to ruin your life if this young man dies. Notice Carmelo's reaction. Check this out. Does this look like a guy that's a cold-blooded killer? Check it out. He's crying. He breaks down crying when he finds out that Austin is basically dead. Okay, so now he puts his arm. Nobody's here condoning murder or anything of the sort. I'm breaking down a video for people that are asking me to break it down. Okay, so now they're walking together, and he's going to connect him, basically alert because Karmelo has his team, but they didn't have a tent up, and that's probably what kind of triggered a lot of this into motion, perhaps. Maybe if he had a tent up like it should have been, maybe his life would be different right now. It's amazing how one little twist can send your life down a different journey, okay? All right, so now you see them walking together. And I told you guys from the beginning, at 10:05 and 30 seconds, the police officer is going to show up. And that's when he's going to grab Karmelo by the hand. Okay? I know this is brutal to go through this again, but I have to do this because people say, oh, you're lying and this and that. So I want to make sure I show you guys the facts so tight that even you can refute the people who wish to sit and listen to people who were not in the courtroom, don't have a clue what's going on, right? It's a low down, dirty shame. Okay? And if you want to talk that watermelon felon talk, you got to get out of here tonight. We're not here for that. This is not a night for you to push your racial type of slurs. You got to get out of here. Moderators, throw them out on their head. All right? So anyway, we're waiting for the police officer to arrive at 10:05 and 30 seconds. That's right. Yeah, ruined his whole life pretty much, right? All right. Case man is out of here. Let's get him out. Make an example out of him. Okay, so anyway, we're waiting for the police officer to show up. And now you see Carmelo's coaches, his team surrounding him. You're going to see him go down to the ground crying if it didn't happen already. I wasn't looking. But he's going to go down to his knees. He's so miserable about, what has happened. And you know what? In the court, I was shocked because the defense didn't really draw this out. typically in New York, from what I see, they would really have emphasized these points. But for some reason, we didn't really see it. All right, so he's taking him over to the police officer. You see the police officer at the base of the bleachers? Okay, so we're going to pick it up there. All right, so now we're going to go. Give me a second. We're going to actually pull up the, let me see if I can get it for you. We're going to pull up the body cam from the police officer. So give me 1 second here. Okay, so now we have the body cam, and we're going to pick up here so you can hear what's happening, okay? So let's get to it. All right, this comes from Channel 4, not a fake video. And I want you to keep in mind what Karmelo says when the police, basically are walking with him to the vehicle. Let's check it out.
If somebody is shooting the victim, they need to be over there. Don't reach for anything.
Okay, so he has Karmelo's arm, and he's walking him down to an opening in the fence, okay? Now, this is something, when I came out of court, for those that really follow this channel, I told you guys that the timestamp for the police body cam, the time was dramatically off. In court, the prosecution actually told us too that the timestamps, the time would be off. The prosecution also told us that the witnesses' stories would not match in certain cases. So I found that to be quite intriguing, okay? But if you look at the body cam date, it actually says February the 10th, 2016. I wrote that in my notes, and I told you guys immediately after I came out of court, something was wrong with these videos, right? Okay, as far as the timeline presented, right, from the body cam footage, okay? So that's just the first point. Let's get to it.
All right, man. Stop right there for me. Dispatch 443. I got the suspects, and they're currently treating the victim. Again, he's on the north end of the stadium. All right. Any weapons on you like that? I'll look here.
Okay, so he's walking him down to this opening so he can put the cuffs on him.
Y'all back up a little bit.
You see the opening right here?
I'm gonna put your handcuffs for now, okay?
Now, I want to show you guys something really quick, right? Remember I told you that Karmelo was running down and they tried to say he was trying to run out of the exit? That's what the prosecution tried to slant. They were saying, oh, he was trying to get away. This is what he passed. Karmelo could have easily ran out of this event, but he didn't. Look at it. You see that right there? He didn't have to go run to the coaches. He could have ran out right through here behind these buildings, try to get away. But no, he ran to the coach despite what the prosecution said about him, right? That's something you need to factor in when you're fighting the case. A lot of information is going to come out and be spread that's not true. I'm dealing with it now. People just making up stuff, wasn't in court, and they have the nerve to call me a liar. You know what I mean? It's insanity. All because you want to keep the clicks and the likes going in the money in the money game. Do I ask for money? Do you guys see me saying, give me a super chat? Hey, super chat, super chat, super chat. You guys have been following me a long time, right? Right? Do I have little whistles and bells asking you guys to pay a super chat so I can read your comment? No, I read your comment whether you give a super chat or not. I've been doing that since day one, right? I don't do this for money. Right? So anyway, let's get back to the point. Karmelo could have ran out here if he wanted to, but he ran on the field, just like the defense said in the opening arguments. We have to get these facts out because they're going to come out now that he has sufficient counsel. I guarantee you're going to see a difference in this case. The world won't be ready for probably the outcome. And I think the truth is going to be spun correctly this time. All right?
I'm gonna put your handcuffs for now, okay?
Notice the things that Karmelo is going to say. All right. Now, here's something I want you guys to keep in mind as well. When you're looking at a case in a video, this is how you use common sense for the people that like to push a narrative, the real people that are lying to you, pushing a narrative. You don't just look at the video. You have to say in court during the opening arguments, oh, the defense didn't say he was jumped. Don't you think that would have been the opportune time to say he was jumped? That would have made more sense, right? Calvin already went over that, right? That would have been the time to say, listen, these boys jumped him. And it's easy to sell that narrative. You know why? Because they're twins. Remember on the video, remember Hunter says, we do everything together. So they could have tied that together and said, Hunter said in the video, they do everything together and they were going to beat his behind together, right? But the defense did not say that. We have Karmelo's words in this video, right? In this video, what does he say? I told him not to put his hands on me. He doesn't say, I told them not to put their hands on me and I just poked out. I don't even know who I stuck, right? Wouldn't that have been a hell of an argument, right? When you're, if you want to argue and say, well, Karmelo, he's not smart enough, his attorney should have known if he was jumped to really lead with that, because now when you're trying to distribute the force, you understand that he has multiple people coming at him, okay? All right? So it's very important. Let's get David out of here. David, we're going through the facts. We're not talking about he's a murderer. So you got to go. Get David out of here, please, guys. Let him go. You got to stay focused tonight. I've been taking on wind from both sides, from the left and the right, about this case. So I'm here for it tonight. But we can't talk about, he's guilty, right? That's what they have so far. Okay, this case could turn around, but there's no need for you to come and tell us something that we already know. I was in court. I know what happened with the case. So don't come in here agitating. I'm on one tonight. Okay? So, and it's very distracting. So anyway, Karmelo, his own words, he never said he was jumped. Closing arguments, nowhere in court did they say he was jumped. All these kids came in. They did say Austin touched him politely on the shoulder, but some of the kids actually told you the details of what he actually did. And guess what? What they said about him doing a football move, that's in line with what we see in the video. And when Eddie says he was knocked out the way, you could actually see Eddie's head in the background. That's that third head that you see beyond Austin. And according to Eddie, in his own words, Austin came so hard at Karmelo, he knocked Eddie out the way. But in court and on the mainstream media, so at first I was fighting mainstream media, right? Now I'm fighting the remedial class, okay? So I went from fighting mainstream media, trying to push the narrative that he was actually politely shoved. Now I got to fight the remedial class that just can't figure out what I'm saying to save their own life. They'd rather just believe what a guy standing that came out of the jail and say, oh, I got a story to tell. You know what I mean? Like, what's up with that? What are we doing? And has the nerve to go do a whole show calling me a liar. I could care less. You know what I mean? Because I'm showing you guys the facts tonight. I'm here for it. You don't have to watch the video. But if you watch the video, you're going to have to face the facts, because everything is jiving up. And I'm going to repeat a few things. I'm going to show you again what Nick at Night said. Karmelo was not in the tent when the twins arrived. All right, I went through that thoroughly, but I'm going through it again because some of the people are having a hard time using their thinking capacity, or they just want those super chats, right? Super chat. That's all I want. I'll tell you anything under the sun just to get a super chat. And if you're dumb enough to do that, then God bless you, right? That's not how I do things over here. I give you guys the information. I'm not over here begging for money. I'm good. I'm set, right? I do this for the love of what I do, all right? For the passion of it. I don't need any of this. So I'm just trying to help you understand. Anyway, let's keep moving. Notice what...
43. Everybody can slow down. I got the...
Oh, and check this out. You guys want to hear this one? Dominique, who was representing Karmelo, he says he wasn't jumped. What's going on here? Don't you think his parents would say, they jumped my boy, they jumped my boy? The parents, show me the video where the parents say that they were jumped. Okay? His own representative says he saw the video. Obviously, if he's representing Karmelo, he's talked to Karmelo. Karmelo, he says he wasn't jumped. So you got the whole court case, all the facts here. I'm writing notes. Nobody says the boys jumped, but just because some Looney Tune said the world is running with it, and you know what we look like to the other side. In fact, I'm going to show you guys when I'm done with this video, how Megan starts off her video talking about people who are pushing this narrative. That's what you look like on the other side. It's ridiculous because you're not even smart enough to follow the facts. Okay, so let's get back to it.
Suspect in handcuffs right now, detained.
Everyone else can slow down. Suspects detained in handcuffs.
Hold on. You can open up the channel, and medics are clear to come in. Have them come to the north.
All right, so according to the police report, the officer sits him down and pats him down. So you're going to see that happen now. When I came out of court, I told you guys that he had on blue sweatpants, dark blue sweatpants of sorts, and some black and white Chucks on. And I told you the police officer had on a wedding ring. Just giving you ideas. Those are some of the notes that I write when I'm watching videos. I'm writing all sorts of notes so I can come back and tell you guys the truth. Right? So anyway, let's get to it.
East entrance. That's going to be a gate that's wide open there. And then you come to the victim from there.
His shirt says, "Fear of God." Now I want you to notice what he says, right? Spontaneous utterances, okay, or statements. Let's check it out.
Okay. We'll figure that out.
Have you guys ever heard the expression, you get it from the horse's mouth? Notice what he says. He could have easily said, see, some of them are saying that Hunter hit him first, right? Well, why didn't he stab Hunter? Right? He's clearly talking about Austin here.
So nothing on your person at all? No, nothing? No, sir. Mind if I reach in your pockets and stuff and all that? Nothing gonna stab me? No, sir. Okay.
I'm going to be out with this as well.
A little personal there, okay? Just to make sure. Okay. All right. The victim's going to be underneath that tent over there, so I'll get.
We have the police report from this officer too. Her last name starts with an R.
Medics.
So listen right now. This is where he says it.
Memorial tent over there, guys. All right. He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me.
Okay, you heard what he said. He put his hands on me. I told him not to, but he did it anyway. He's clearly telling you. He could have easily said they, them, right? He says he's telling you what happened.
Put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. What's happening right now? Victim.
So that's how they're going to factor it in court. If you talk to criminal defense attorney Calvin, listen, Calvin won a big case. I don't want to talk about it. He won this big case, very similar to this. That's all I'll tell you. It's amazing how he won the case, but you know what? He had to process the good, the bad, and the ugly. So he sat his client down. You did this? Yeah, I did it. Okay, so we have to find a way to get around, to deal with this, right? We can't hide it. We can't come up with some wrong narrative and think you're going to go to court and you start lying and they start, just like Eddie, they start putting up these pictures on the screen and prove you to be a liar, right? Now, people are being negative. They're being sent. So it's okay. They need to hear the message. Maybe they'll learn something, okay? So let's take it all. We welcome it all. So anyway, so in this particular video, a person like Calvin is going to factor in what Karmelo says, the video, what you see in the video, what you hear in the video. You're going to look at the opening arguments from the prosecution, the defense. You're going to look at what all the witnesses are saying. And in this case, guess what? No one mentioned he was jumped, right? So anyway, let's keep moving.
We're in the north end. They got staff standing to him right now. This is the alleged suspect. Already? No. We searched them. Got nothing on him.
And if they release all this information, it's very likely they're going to release the transcripts. When you read the transcripts, you're going to be able to line up what I'm telling you tonight. All right?
4.3. Trackers have negative CPR progress for a witness. Racing. That's the wrong thing. Racing.
He said, can you pull my pants up? All right?
Up to you. It's up to you. This is closer. Let me do one more little check of you, okay? You don't mind for reaching your pockets, anything like that?
So they search him again before they put him in the vehicle. They're going to see that his finger has blood on it. In court, they insinuated it was cut.
Some little under. No, ma'am, I don't think so. What's your name, man? Karmelo Anthony, K-A-R-M-E-L-O.
Now, notice, right? And I'm just trying to help you guys understand how bad the prosecutions are, especially when you are a certain way. But he's actually asking, is Austin okay, right? But you don't get that in court where they're trying to really draw it out to help you understand that the guy was remorseful for what he did. At worst, he should have received manslaughter. It wasn't a murder one, but they slandered the case so hard and the witnesses came in. A lot of them, their stories had changed from when the time it happened to when it ended, right? So that's a big problem. But you know what happens is people go with that narrative. And that's why I came out of court and I saw the mainstream media saying, oh, they all said that Karmelo was the aggressor. Yeah, you gave them a cookie cutter pattern. And they all basically follow suit. But a lot of them, their stories changed from the time of April the 2nd when they gave their first testimony. I went through this so many times over the week. So if you need to know those details, just go back to any video. But I've told those stories of how they changed their position throughout a year.
Have a seat here real quick, man. Watch your head. Let me check your hood here, buddy, okay? Yes, sir. Well, I'll tell you what, lean this way so you're not resting on your hands, okay?
See, let me tell you why people are mad real quick, right? So imagine you have a channel and you've been sitting there and you have people coming on saying, Karmelo's in the tent for 8 minutes. Oh my God. And then they come in and they beat him. They walk in and they have this direct pattern and they walk straight to him and 20 seconds, they start to beat him. And then I come along and I show you guys the facts and I show you the video and I show you Neek at night and I show you Megan. And we lined it up that Karmelo came in 2 minutes after, according to my courtroom notes that I've been talking about all week. I would go on my channel and start crying too. And I would try to call that person a liar too, because it's hard to come back out and say, listen, I had my facts wrong and I look like a damn fool. So I know what it is. It's all good. I'm here for it, right? You would have to go on there and do that, right? It only makes sense. Oh, he's a liar. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, because I debunked all your lies. And I did a damn good job doing it. So you have to cry. So let them cry on. You could cry till the cows come home as far as I care. But anyway, let's keep going.
All right, see a little bit of blood on your hands there, okay? All right.
402, I won't see.
So your first name is Karmelo? Let's see. Hold on one second.
See what he said? Is he going to be okay? Did you hear that? So he's concerned about Austin.
I don't know yet, man. Karmelo, C-A-R-A. K-A-R. M-E-L-O. Karmelo. What's your last name? A-N-T-H. O-N-Y. What grade are you in? 10th grade? You go to Emerson? Where do you go? Centennial. Okay. I'm in 12th grade. 12th grade? Okay.
Well, if you think he should have gotten a death penalty, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be ready for what's going to happen in the future if he gets a trial that's more favorable by having a mixture of a good jury. Okay. So when that happens, you're going to really be upset, buddy. Believe me. I'm just telling you, I'm preparing you for what's coming down the pipeline.
All right, sit tight for me real quick, bud, all right? Let me run this guy real quick. I haven't talked to him at all.
Okay, so there you have it. We're going to also...
Karmelo Anthony is in the Collin County jail.
Okay, so let me take this down for a second. Give me 1 second, guys. Thank you very much. I'm going to show you something else here, too. We're going to listen to the 911 call as well. And then I'm going to show you a few more facts. We're going to look at the video close out. I'm going to break it down for you. But let me put this on for you as well. Just give me 1 second. Here we go. Listen to the 911 call. Now, keep in mind that in court, when they were playing this, I think it was on day 2, the mother was crying. It was so heartbreaking. The jurors were crying. I counted at least 3 to 4 of them crying. And they would look at her every time she would hit a high note. She would put her hands in her face. On the second day, I remember, of the trial, I was sitting on the back row. And here's a side point. Whenever the teenagers would come in to testify, the parents would come and they would sit on the end row seat so that they were there to witness and be there for their kid. And I happened to sit in that seat that day. So I saw all of the parents coming in and they were switching seats and they were really nervous. I could tell that they were really nervous for their child. But anyway, let's get to the 911 call.
I need paramedics at Kirkendall Stadium right away.
Okay, what's going on?
I have an athlete that was stabbed.
He was stabbed?
Yes.
Okay, where's the person who stabbed him?
I don't know.
Okay, where in the stadium is he?
We are on the visitor side bleachers. We have Army.
We are very aware that you don't bring a knife to a school event, but this is not what we're talking about tonight. We're going through the video. We've already discussed all that. So if you're just here to create issues, then we're just not going to have it.
Veteran that's trying to keep compression on the wound.
Okay. Are you with him now?
He is laying here.
How old is he?
Starting to go unconscious.
How old is he?
High school age, so maybe 15, 16, 17.
Okay. Is he awake?
No, he's going unconscious.
Okay. Is he breathing?
Not right now.
Breathing.
I want you guys to catch a person. Remember, I told you that you just can't go by the video, because I want to really drive home this point about jumping, right? And how it's not mentioned anywhere. But notice what this guy says. Karmelo already said it was Austin. You know, he put his hands on me. I told him not to, right? He, him, not they, them, right? Notice what this guy says that Austin does to Karmelo. He doesn't say the twins did to Karmelo. I'm going to stop it at that point. But this is what a good attorney is going to do, like Calvin Johnson. He's going to tie in all of this to see what the narrative is. So check it out.
No, he's not.
He's not breathing at all?
No.
Okay, where was he stabbed at?
In his chest.
Okay. I've got them coming, okay? Stay on the phone with me, all right?
Okay.
Is the assailant still nearby?
Okay, I'm here.
Is the assailant still nearby?
So you hear that in the background. Stay with me, Austin. So as that was happening, the mother was hysteric. It was a sad moment in time to just see her actually sit through that whole time.
Stay with me, Austin. Come on. Every once in a while, there's a breath that he's here. Come on.
I'm going to keep you with me, okay, until they're with you. Is he breathing still?
He's trying, yeah. We're doing compressions and giving him mouth-to-mouth.
Okay.
Come on.
Hey, they're doing CPR on him.
Fight through.
Okay, just keep going, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Come on.
Okay, guys, we have criminal defense attorney Calvin Johnson coming on in 15 minutes, so stick around. We get to hear from the attorney. Thank you. He's an attorney down in Dallas, Texas, so it'll be nice to get his ideas about this.
They're coming as fast as they can. Just keep me updated, okay?
Come on. Yes, ma'am. Fight through, baby. Fight through, Austin. Come on.
Okay, so anyway, go back and really go through the video. You clearly heard him say that Austin was trying to move him out of the tent. So anyway, you can check that out even more. We're going to keep moving so that I can get through this by the time the criminal defense attorney Calvin Johnson comes up. All right, so now we're going to move on to a different perspective of this. I just want to show you guys, let's see, I'm going to bring up this video here. Okay, let's see. It's just the video. Okay, so in this video, it's a little bit clearer. Let's just see. All right, when does the fight happen? Okay, so right here. All right. So I already showed you guys where they're sitting at. And you're going to notice, watch what Austin does. And you're going to be able to see him attack Karmelo right here. Boom, he rocked back. Karmelo goes out the back. You see Hunter stand up and run out of the back of the tent. He comes back around trying to grab his brother. Karmelo runs off. It's real simple, folks. You see that? And you see how he could have easily ran out of the place? Okay, let's take care of After Truth. You got to go. Thank you. All right, thank you. I know you were sent, so let's get you out of here. Okay, so that gives you a different view, a little closer view. We're going to even look at a closer view, but check this out. Right here, okay. Okay, right here. Now notice I've gone through this before, but in order to really get it, you have to go back to the beginning of the video where I show you where everybody came in and sat down in the tent. They did not stand up. They did not surround Karmelo. Karmelo was not even in the tent. So that's all just a bunch of hoopla. They actually sat down. They've been sitting down a whole 6 minutes now. When this fight kicks off at 10 o'clock, Austin and Hunter arrived at 9:54. You can see Karmelo head sitting there at the point, and you're going to clearly see Austin go and attack him. Let's look at this. See that? Boom. You see Karmelo head rock back. When he runs out, Hunter, who's sitting in front of him, is revealed by himself. Because right now you're seeing Karmelo and Hunter as one blob sitting together. But after Karmelo came and sat in behind Hunter, Carmelo's head became the highest peak in the tent. So now you're going to see Karmelo run out the back right there. And now you see Hunter standing in that same position. Do you guys see it? Now watch him. He's going to use his left leg and basically crawl up out of the tent. Look at this. See that? He went out the back. He hears his brother screaming, and he's going to hook back and come back in the tent. Look at there. See that? He doesn't continue to run behind Karmelo because he heard his brother crying for help. That's it. That's my message. I'm just here to tell you where everybody was sitting, okay? And I'm also here to tell you that there's no documentation about a jumping in court, neither from the video from the body cam, or we heard the 911 calls. They say it's all about Austin. Even Karmelo says he put his hands on me, and so forth and so on. Karmelo runs off, okay? So if you need further information about it, you could even watch more videos. For those of you that are just coming in, criminal defense attorney Calvin Johnson is coming up. But I want to show for those that are just coming in, because a lot of people are still stuck. They're stuck on the fact that they think that Karmelo was in the tent 8 or 9 minutes before the twins. So unfortunately, I know some people came in late. So for you, I'm going to play it for you again so you could see that other people are giving their own testimony on their own channel, and they're inside the courtroom taking notes. And they say the same thing that I'm saying. It's very important for me to do this because people are putting out a false narrative, and I want you guys to see that I'm giving you the truth. I'm giving you from my notes what I heard and observed in court. And when I cover these cases, right, I know that people are going to get transcripts. Why would I come out and deceive you on purpose? I'm not asking you for money. Do you hear me asking how many super chats have I asked for in this program? How many? Have you heard me ask for anything from you? Just your time, right? So anyway, let's get to the point here. Let me find the... Okay, here we go.
Porter, he is a forensic.
So I'm going to go back. Notice I'm going to do my time. I'm going to do the timeline from court.
And was set to begin.
I'm going to let you listen to her. She was in court and she breaks it down that Karmelo came in after the twins. So already, when I debunk that, you already know the core of the lies are already in trouble. Because all of these people are saying, yeah, Karmelo was in the tent before, and then the twins came. So when I debunk this, the whole deck of cards are come tumbling down, and that's why people are mad, and they want to call me a liar. So be it, but anyway, I'm here for it. 9:54, Austin arrives. 9:56, 2 minutes later, Karmelo arrives. Okay, at 10 o'clock and 48 seconds, the fight begins. At 10 o'clock and 53 seconds, the suspect ran. 5 seconds that altercation lasted, just between two guys. That's why it happened so fast within within the blink of an eye. All right. So let you listen to Nika at night. She has her own channel. She was in the courtroom every day, and she's going to break down what she heard about who came into the tent first. If you don't believe me, you could check out her. Check it out.
Austin was there with his brother, along with the other Centennial school for the track meet. Karmelo. Oh no. He was there with his brother, and then Karmelo was along with Centennial at the school for the track meet. The coach sent a text to Austin that he needed them to step up and help. The rain began to fall. Some teams went to the buses. Some were on the field. Some with their teams in the tents. 6 minutes in the murder. Austin and his brother. 6 minutes before the murder. Sorry. Austin and his brother entered the tent.
Okay, so I told you guys just a few minutes ago, according to my notes, at 10 o'clock, that's when the stabbing happened, right? Okay. She says 6 minutes before, that's when the brothers entered the tent. That's 9:54. Simple math. 9:54, I told you Austin and his brother entered the tent. So we're right on the money. She has her own channel. She does a great job. She has no reason to lie to you. And she's telling you clearly that the twins arrived at 9:54, right? Based on the way the numbers are going. But here's the key point. Notice when Karmelo arrives.
You will see normal activity in the tent. 2 minutes after Austin enters, Karmelo is visible. He makes a beeline into the memorial tent.
Okay, did you hear that? That's not coming from me. Now that's coming from Nika at night. Is she lying too, guys? What are we doing here? So you're going to add her to the lying list? She's in the court. I'm in court. And you guys out here listening to people that weren't even in court. This is a shame. It's a travesty. How do you get to corner the market on a case that you didn't even attend? And you're listening to people that didn't even go to court. But you have the nerve to say somebody's lying. It's a low down dirty shame. Anyway, I'm going to show you one more person. Maybe she will. I'm going to let her play a little bit more.
You will see more normal activity in the tent. The other kids asked, why was he there? They treat the tent like a locker room to protect valuables from theft. Austin steps up to tell him to leave. After several people told him to leave, Austin took the bait. Okay, so he's basically shaping it as like Austin was baited by Karmelo because Karmelo didn't listen to him when he said leave. So that was Karmelo baiting Austin into hitting him.
Okay. So that's consistent to what I've been telling you guys all week too, right? That's what the prosecution tried to say. Okay. So she took great notes, and her notes are same as mine. We have the same timeline. We both sat in court, and we took great notes in regards to the things that were said and heard. I'm going to show you this other video, and then I'm going to bring up criminal defense attorney Calvin Johnson. I want you guys to pay attention to Megan as she gives a mainstream media type of view to this. Check it out.
Be inside that tent, and he knew it was providing.
Watch this.
Critical up-close videos. A scene, a criminal scene, is admissible in court as consciousness of guilt. And that's exactly what was argued, because we can all see that's what it is with our own damn eyes. We're about to show you 3 critical up-close videos of what happened under the tent. These were enhanced by Robbie Harvey, a true crime social media journalist on X. In this close-up video at the top of the tent, you see Karmelo Anthony walk in and...
Isn't that what I showed you guys tonight? Karmelo walks in and he sits behind Hunter. This is what I showed you guys earlier. So now you get a chance to hear it from somebody different.
Nice. We're about to show you 3 critical up-close videos of what happened under the tent. These were enhanced by Robbie Harvey, a true crime social media journalist on X. In this close-up video at the top of the...
You see that? You see Karmelo walking in. She's telling you that that's Karmelo walking in, sitting down. And I showed you, he's sitting right behind Hunter. That's courtroom testimony. Many of the kids stated that. In the video with Hunter and his mother, Hunter says a boy walks in and he's sitting what? Behind me. He says he turns his head and tells the boy to leave. So this is consistent to this video that she's telling you this is Karmelo walking in, but also Hunter, I showed you where he's sitting at. His testimony lets you know where Karmelo was in relation to him. He was actually sitting behind him. Check it out.
The tent, you see Karmelo Anthony walk in and sit down under the tent where the murder occurred.
See that?
Karmelo runs for another team. Again, there was...
That's exactly what I showed you guys, all right? I want to thank you guys. Okay, so here we go. All right. Thank you very much. You're out of here. Okay, so anyway, we're going to bring up criminal defense attorney Calvin Johnson so that he can add more to the conversation. Calvin, how are you?
Man, I'm doing great tonight, man. Once again, excuse the background. We're just trying to doing a makeshift thing here. I'm trying to pop on and give y'all another perspective.
Okay, let us have it. I've been talking a long time. Thank you.
I think they released a lot of this evidence because a lot of people were just trying to pop out a lot of rumors about what happened, a lot of conspiracy theories about what happened. And I think that ultimately they decided to go ahead and release this information so that people could actually see the evidence for themselves and really to stop some of this rumor train that was going on. There was a lot of stuff about Karmelo being jumped. And I'm telling you, when you look at that video, you don't see it jumping. Dominique Alexander basically confirmed that that there was not a jumping. And when you look at the situation in terms of the statements of Carmelo himself, he's more of, hey, Austin put his hands on me. I told him not to put his hands on me. So there's no reference to a jumping and that kind of stuff. So that's one thing that is debunked. And just some of the crazy rumors around some of the other stuff. And I think that they had to go ahead and release a lot of this information because you had fake pictures of the DA and the judge and the Metcalfs together. And I knew that I knew how the DA and the judge looked because I'm an attorney down here in Dallas, Texas, and I go to Collin County quite often. I was up there in Judge Roach's court actually Friday. And I was like, that's not Judge Roach in that picture. That's not Greg Willis in that picture. And it's just like multiple times, multiple fake pictures, multiple fake situations. And it's just, they had to do something. And I think that they decided to go ahead and release this evidence so the public can look at it so that we can discuss it because the courtroom was closed. And Mel made some very valid points. And I want to point to a number of things. Mel went to the case every day. And me and Mel talked every day after he went to court. Mel took meticulous notes and we discussed these things every day. Mel was here. I can verify that. And Mel and a few other people that he would always see in that court. There's another number of people that went down there that went to court every day, and they actually took meticulous notes as well. And so, but it wasn't that many people like that. So all of these bloggers that are happening and doing this stuff across the country who didn't even attend the courtroom proceedings and coming up with all this stuff is just absolutely ridiculous. They don't know what happened. A lot of them do not understand Texas law. They did not attend the trial. And it's just a bunch of just mess. And we got to really be realistic. We got to think about this from these terms. One young man died. Another young man serving 35 years for it. I mean, there was some very, very serious stuff happened here. And a lot of people, black and white, are projected their past situations, their future fears, and all this other stuff onto this case. And the people involved kind of got pushed to the side in a sense. And we need to make sure that we really focus on what actually happened instead of all of this other stuff that is going on. We really got to focus on the real evidence, the real situations, what actually happened, not this made up stuff of him getting jumped and all this other stuff. And oh, there's a fake video and there's fake this. And no, let's focus on what actually was there. If Karmelo Anthony thought that there was a fake video and he just got 35 years, don't you think he would tell us attorney, hey, I don't remember that happening that day. That video's fake. Hey, I don't remember what went on that day. I don't remember that happening that day. I don't remember me running down that walkway that day. He would know because he was there. So if he saw that there was a fake video, there's no way he's going to sit there and not say anything. In addition to that, man, people have to understand, like, if you were to put a fake video out there and it was found out and you're a prosecutor or you work at the courts, you could get disbarred. You could lose your law license doing something like that. Nobody's going to do that over this one case. People need to understand what's going on here and quit playing games with these people's lives and these people's cases and then projecting their situations onto these cases because there's real consequences. There were real lives lost. There's real jail time given out. We need to really, really focus on the real facts and really, really focus on what actually happened instead of all this rumor stuff.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Calvin, how do you explain the fact that Carmelo was not under the tent before the twins arrived, but we get people saying he was? It goes against what we learned in court, but people run with this narrative, and then I show them differently. What do you think about that? The video evidence shows it differently. I show other witnesses, but people want to still push that narrative.
People want to believe what they want. And I had to understand that, Mel. And, I've been arguing with people on the internet. And, I had some people call me just because, like, for example, there was a fake picture up. And I said, hey, that's not John Roach in that picture. And they goes like, oh, you co-signing for Massa. Somebody said some crazy stuff to me like that. And I was like, man, what's wrong with you? Like, why would you say something to me like that just because I'm telling you this picture is fake? Wouldn't you want If I posted a fake picture on my page, I would want somebody to tell me, man, that wasn't right. But people don't want to hear that, Mel. People don't want to know the truth. If the truth doesn't fit how they want to see things, then they don't want to hear it. And honestly, when you look at it, it really shouldn't surprise any of us that certain folks on both sides don't want the truth to come, don't want to accept what has happened here. A lot of them want to feed the racial narrative of everything that went on all the time. And yeah, there is some issues there race-wise sometimes, but at the same time, like I don't like the fact that he got the 35 years. I thought he could get less. But with that being said, you have to testify. You have to get yourself humanized. You have to let that jury know who you are. Somebody did lose their life. If you're going to sit there, and I'm the defense attorney, if you're going to sit there and the jury only knows you as Karmelo Anthony, the person who stabbed Austin Metcalf in the heart, and they never hear your voice. They never heard how you felt in the moment. They never hear why you pulled the knife or pulled the tool or whatever y'all want to call it, just because I don't want people to go crazy and stab that person in the heart and then ran out of the tent. If you need to humanize yourself to have people understand why did you do what you did at that moment, what were you feeling to even do that, so that they can understand who you are. The only thing they know is you're just some figment of their imagination who's sitting there, who never was able to show any real emotion outside of crying a little bit at court or fidgeting a little bit at court. They never heard your testimony. They never got to know you. They never know how you felt in that moment. So with that being said, you didn't testify based on how everything went in the case. If you're not going to testify and you're going to sit there and then the things are going to happen and this kind of evidence is presented, things probably are not going to go well for you. So it seems like, if I'm right, Mel, they have a new legal team. Russell Wilson, who I know, a number of the other attorneys some that I know, some that I don't. I know Russell Wilson, that the lead counsel, very knowledgeable, very intelligent guy, great at appeals, really smart guy, great attorney. So they have a new legal team. I know he's going to handle things differently. But with that being said, we have to accept what has happened. We have to accept the evidence. Mel went to court. Some of the other people went to court. There's no hiding of anything. The evidence is what it is. We need to accept it and be able to talk about it.
Right. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, you said that Russell Wilson would have been a good appeal attorney, right? Appellate.
Yeah, I said it, and I know, I know some of those people that are that deal with Karmelo, and I had a few people call me and ask me, and I told them, hey, Russell Wilson is one of the best appeal attorneys that I know in the city of Dallas and Dallas County, Collin County, and the Metroplex area. There's about 5 or 6 or 7 counties that a lot of us practice law in around here. He's one of the best in those counties. And I think that they listened to me and they heard that. And his name probably came up several times because he's really good or great at what he's doing. So I think that they have very competent counsel. And I think that he may handle some things differently. Nothing to say bad about other people. But when it comes to Russell Wilson, I know him personally. I've dealt with him. I've worked with him before. Very, very smart, very impactful and tactful guy.
Here's a question for you really quick. The prosecution, they really distorted the truth in the opening arguments. They tried to make it seem that Karmelo was trying to run out of the place through the exit, but apparently he ran on the field, just as the defense said. Why is that the case?
They're going to tell it the way they want to tell it. And that's why you got to be very, very careful. I think that when you prepare a case, even as an opening statement as a defense team, you got to know what you're going to do. You got to lay something out. I always had somebody tell me that, hey, if they're going to say it happened this particular way, you give the jury another way it could have happened and you stick to that particular way. Because what you want to do is you want to create that reasonable doubt, or you want to create that avenue upon which whatever you're telling them, if you're telling them self-defense, you want to create that avenue of, hey, I'm going to tell you how it actually happened. I'm going to show you how it actually happened. I'm going to demonstrate how it actually happened. and then I'm going to tell you it again. And that's how you do it. You got to break it down to them like a 7-year-old. So opening statements, you should have been telling them how it happened. Your witnesses should have been aligning with that, what you told them in that opening statement. Your witnesses should have been demonstrating what actually happened. And then in your closing statements, you should be telling them what happened again. And I don't think that that happened. I know you went, Mel, and I know that didn't happen that way. It was kind of a hodgepodge defense there. Karmelo didn't testify. He didn't get to humanize himself. I was talking to another defense attorney today, and both of us was agreeing. It was like, hey, man, the jury never looked at Karmelo like as a regular human being. He was just a person who sat in a chair. They never heard his voice. He was just a person that they heard on a video. They never heard him come up. They never heard him how bad he felt in person. Like, I'll give you an example, right? Let's say he testifies and maybe he has some things to worry about. But let's say they ask him about stabbing Austin and he breaks down and cries about it. And he shows them how remorseful he is that he actually did that. Do you think he gets 35 then? Maybe somebody goes, you know what? Man, he feels really bad. I'm not going to give him 35. Maybe I'll give him 25. Maybe I'll give him 20. You got to understand that. You know what I mean? See, you got to understand it. I'll give you an example. Today, and I won't say any names because I can't. I had somebody, a bigger person, ran up on them at a workplace, were bullying them, pushed them, started hitting them in the face. And literally, this person pulled out a weapon and shot them and ended up getting probation. But you know why? Because after they did that, they didn't have a press conference. After they did that, they showed remorse. After they did that, they came to court. They kept a low profile. They came to court. They testified. They showed remorse. They showed reflection. They built rapport with the judge. We ended up going to a jury trial. We went in front of a judge. She showed what happened. And in this particular situation, we had a better video. We had a video where everything was clear and clean. We had a video where it was clear that the other person was the instigator. We had a video where it was clear that the other person pushed and hit her and punched her first. My client also, it was very clear, had some mental issues. I had some things going on mentally with her that exacerbated her situation. So what the judge was able to do, the judge was able to show, my client was able to show in person to that particular judge by testifying how she felt in the moment. She felt bad about, she was on the stand crying about it. She broke down. She was just crying about it because she was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe everything was happening. Everything was happening so quick. And in this particular situation, true to form, my lady was 5'6", 110 pounds. The person that she had to do was 5'10", 270 pounds, was way bigger than her. I weighed her by almost 150 pounds. I weighed her by that much. Was a lot bigger and stronger than she was. But she got up there. She showed remorse. She showed remorse in the courtroom. And I see people making comments, but the jury saw a video. But there's nothing like seeing remorse in person. There's nothing like getting on the stand and letting people feel you in that courtroom. Because see, when you're in that courtroom, those people coming in that courtroom are breaking down in person in front of those jurors. Them people are walking in person, breaking down in front of those jurors. They're bringing everybody in. They're breaking down in front of those jurors. You got to understand, as a defense attorney and as a family and as a person, I need to put Karmelo in there so that he can show the real human emotion of, hey, I didn't mean to kill him. I didn't mean, even though I'm protecting myself, I didn't want to kill him. I felt bad about it. And you want him to relive the moment in front of the jury so that they can see how he is and what he's doing. And for people who want to go and make other comments and disagree with me, fine. Do what you want. But I'm telling you, I know the new attorneys, and I bet you they're going to do what I'm saying. I bet they don't do what the other people did. So you can disagree with me all you want. But I'm telling you right now, if he were to get another trial, I bet you he testifies. And I bet you will hear his voice. I bet you will hear him being humanized. And no, it does not excuse his actions, but you still have to show people that you're a human being who made a mistake. You have to show remorse in person. It would help because that jury didn't get to feel him as a human being, or at least attempt to humanize him. As defense attorneys, when we have a situation like that, that's something that we do. We don't want our client sitting there for 5 or 6 days and the jury never hearing from him when we know that they got all these folks coming in here crying and that emotions coming across. We have to be smart to know that they got that emotional advantage and that we have to at least know that this jury needs to develop some kind of connection with this young man to understand how he was feeling in the moment, at least so that when they sentence him, they won't be so cold about it. When they sentence him, that they at least know how he felt in the moment. Even if he made a mistake, did he have remorse for it? Did he mean to do it? And I know you're saying, well, he didn't mean to do it on the tape. He said, you could tell he's crying, he felt bad. But when you come into the courtroom and do it, and then they see him and they feel it's like, you know what, this kid just made a mistake. He really didn't mean to do it. He really didn't think that was going to happen that way. It doesn't excuse his actions, but as an attorney, you allow Karmelo to be humanized. Until the release of the videos, I had never heard Karmelo's voice until they released those videos, and that's after the trial was over. And that doesn't make any sense. For me and everybody else in this world, most of us had never heard Karmelo's voice until they released those videos about 2 or 3 days ago. That's not what you want. It doesn't even feel like a human being. He might get more years. You got to take the shot, because if you let him sit there and you don't say anything, he's going to get it. He's going to get a good amount of time, because what I've learned is if that jury does not have any connection to you, you just that big bad black man is just sitting there that they don't have no connection to, that they're going to try to give you some time. You have to show some empathy, and you also have to show, hey, I was scared. Hey, I got epilepsy. I was scared in the moment that, hey, maybe if he punches me or he pounds me down, hey, I could end up having a seizure. This could be bad for me. That's why I got scared. You got to let him know. I'm just saying, that's why you got to be careful. That's why you got to let them feel you. If they don't feel you, or if there's no attempt to make them feel you, you're just a empty suit in a seat. You don't want a jury just thinking of you as just an empty suit in a seat, because then they're just going to give you a number and don't care about you. And so that's why I try to tell people, it is what it is. Race made a difference when it came down to the making of a decision, because of the type of jurors that had race wasn't a part of the case. Let's be honest, y'all. Listen, when this case started, Collin County voters, there's only 11% black voters. Actually 11% black population. I think the voting population out there, I think it's even 8%. So you only got an 8% vote by race out there. So you were only going to get one black juror if you were lucky, two if you're super lucky. So you shouldn't even expect it to get more than 1 or 2. You ended up with 0. You probably had a chance to get 3 based on the challenge. But with that being said, you kind of knew that you were not going to get 4, 5, 6, or 7, or 8. That just wasn't going to happen, because the racial makeup of Collin County is not going to allow that. So you got to humanize the kid, because he's a kid. You got to remind him that he was a kid at the time he did this, and he made a huge mistake. That's what you want to do. But if you let the state sit there and just call him and say, hey, he's a cold-blooded murderer, he set out to do it, and you're going to let the state set that narrative and never put him up there and say, hey, he's a young kid who made a mistake, made a very bad mistake, wasn't thinking, made the worst mistake of his life. As a defense attorney, that's at least what I'm going to try to put out there. But if you don't put that out there, you're dead in the water.
All right. So just for the sake of the show tonight and what's happening, can you just explain? I just want a clear explanation.
I can't hear you, Mel.
You can't hear me? Okay. All right. Give me a second. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So can you make a clarification? So can you really draw this out when it comes to one person versus him being jumped? Can you really show how the attorney has to look at all the facts, like what all the witnesses said, what Karmelo says on the video, the 911 call, and put it all together? How would you as an attorney approach this?
Number one, there was no evidence that he was being jumped. Nobody testified that he was being jumped. Nobody testified that he was being jumped. Karmelo, even himself, when they questioned him, he goes, he put his hands on me. I told him not to put his hands on me. He didn't say they, he didn't say them, he said he. When you look at the video, there didn't seem to be a jumping in that tent. When you look at Karmelo, he doesn't look like he has been jumped. When Dominique Alexander does his interviews, he's part of the inside of the Karmelo team. I know, I'm in Dallas. He's here. He's part of the inside of the team. He's not saying that Karmelo told him he was jumped. So as far as the jumping thing, let's not go with that narrative. I mean, nobody basically said he's been jumped except for everybody that wants to kind of come up with this idea of why he would do A, B, and C. There's no evidence of being jumped. A 911 call, nobody said he was jumped. Even Karmelo never said he was jumped. And any time that any of the people ask him anything, he didn't say he was being jumped. He never told anybody on any other body cam that he was being jumped. I said, when you look at the situation, and you also look at how quickly he was able to move out of the tent area, up the bleachers and down, that doesn't, you know, if you're being jumped, people are going to chase you. It's like he went up and out. You know, we have to use our common sense. It was a situation probably where Austin ran at him pretty hard. Karmelo's smaller, and then that's where Austin got stabbed. Karmelo got up out of there and tried to get down the way. But when you look at the video, you don't see a stabbing. I mean, you see a stabbing. Well, you don't see a stabbing, but you don't see a jumping. I'm sorry, I don't want to misplace anything. But when you watch the video, you don't see a jumping. And what you see is Karmelo with the officer later in the video basically saying, yeah, I did it. I'm not the alleged. I did it. So he basically said, hey, I'm not the alleged. I did it. So if he's going to admit on video, which is what we call in evidence an excited utterance, it's going to get admitted into evidence. So if he tells the officer unprovokedly, hey, I'm not alleged, I did it. At that point, the only thing you can lean on is self-defense. If you're going to lean on self-defense, you're going to have to come out and explain, if Austin pushed you or tackled you, why did you stab him in the heart? Or if he tackled you, you need to let them know he tackled me. So if I'm going to talk to an officer, I'm going to say he didn't just put his hands on me. I'm going to say he tackled me. Instead of saying tackled me, he said he put his hands on me. So if he tackled me, I'm going to say that. So what I'm saying to you is the evidence said is Austin put his hands on him. Karmelo reacted to them hands being put on him with a lethal weapon. Austin gets stabbed in the heart. He proceeds to fall down and die. Karmelo runs down. The officer catches up with him. They figure out who he is. The officer calls in, hey, I'm with the alleged perpetrator. I'm not the alleged. I did it. I told him not, I told him he put his hands on me and I told him not to. It's right there. It's not that hard, y'all. Did he overstep the bounds of self-defense? And I always tell people, we are human beings. Sometimes when you're fighting people, sometimes you're going to do too much. And there's nothing wrong with accepting that you did too much. Admit sometimes that, hey, I went too far in responding to somebody putting their hands on me. But I didn't mean to kill him. I didn't think he was going to die. I wasn't trying to kill him. I'm sorry for that happening and apologizing for it. I didn't mean that to happen. I didn't think that was going to happen. There's nothing wrong with that. I just had a case today where somebody overdid it. But they immediately admitted that they overdid it. They didn't have a press conference. They went to jail for it, got out, didn't get any more trouble, didn't bring any attention to themselves. They came into court. They testified on their own behalf. Now, of course, they're a little older. They testified on their own behalf. They showed remorse. They explained to them situation and how they felt. And in this situation, my client had some issues. She had some PTSD issues. She had some anxiety, a little bit of claustrophobia. She had some real issues. So when you share those issues with a judge or a jury, they get to take those things into account. I would have liked Karmelo to share those things with the jury. In addition to that, if he has epilepsy and seizures, I would have gotten a doctor to come in and say, hey, Mr. Karmelo Anthony has seizures. Well, what does the seizures do to him? Well, he has seizures and this can happen. Well, what if he gets into a fight and he gets punched in the chest? It could be fatal for him. It could cause him to go into, you do that. Call you an expert in there that deals with people who have seizures. That should have happened and it did not happen. These are the type things that as a defense attorney you can do to help your client prepare for trial. I think with Mr. Russell Wilson and the new team, it's going to happen. He didn't mean to do it, but it happened. Hey, that's true. And I always try to tell people, sometimes you didn't mean to do stuff. It happened. You're going to get punished for it. But if you accept some responsibility, sometimes you're going to get a little less sometimes by accepting that responsibility. You got to get a little less sometimes if people feel the reason why you did it. There's nothing wrong with admitting that maybe you went too far. But I'm telling you what happened. In the beginning, all these outside people came in and convinced this boy, no, you're going to hold your ground. It was 100% racism. It had nothing to do with anything else. You were 100% in the right by stabbing in the heart on the push. And we're gonna stand right here. We're gonna draw a line in the sand. And we're gonna call it a day. And that was the wrong advice to give that young man. I don't care what nobody say. And anybody who wants to come at me and say that was the right advice to give him, you're just worried about yourself. You're putting your situation in front of this young man's life. And that's what I got a problem with. I wouldn't have allowed that to happen. I wouldn't have allowed all these people and their issues to come before my client. I'd have told them the best thing to do and wouldn't have cared what anybody else said about it. That's what you have to do. Your obligation is to your client. Your obligation is not to all these other people and all the movements and all the stuff around you. Your obligation is to that client that you are serving right then and there. And that's exactly who I would have been serving, not all these narratives. And I think that's the problem. Sorry, y'all. I went on a rant.
Oh, okay, no problem. It's okay. You want to take this?
All these black people saying that Karmelo Anthony deserved it. There's way more of them than pro-black. Black people hate black people, and they're not ready to hear it. Are these black people that you see saying that Karmelo deserved it? This is what I try to tell people, right? That stuff is irrelevant to me in terms of what people are saying that he deserved a lot. You know, listen, this is what I try to tell people. The young man made a mistake that day. That's just what happened. Somebody put their hands on him and they should not have. He took his response too far because you can't take a response that far. You just can't. You may not like it, but you can't take a response that far when somebody pushes you. You just can't. That's just the damn truth. And when you do, and if you do, you better be able to explain it. And if you can't explain it and you sit there and don't testify, people are going to give you hell for it. People are going to give you a lot of time for it. It's not going to work out well for it. So that's what it comes down to. There's some people out here on the black side calling for a race war. I don't think it would turn out how they expect. That kind of stuff, I don't even kind of, engage in. That's useless to me. I'm not going to make a comment on that one. These were also the same two people who raised him to be a person who conducted himself in that manner. His parents failed him. Well, to each his own. People have their opinions about how they raised him. I still believe that in that particular situation, there were a lot of mistakes made that day. Like I said before, you also don't put your hands on nobody. Did it deserve that response? No, it did not. But you keep your hands to yourself, and that's everybody. Karmelo went too far, and he had to pay for that. And unfortunately, Austin lost his life behind it. Karmelo's going to do 35 years behind it. But like I said, this whole situation went bad for both of them. He may have played sports, but when you're playing football, you're wearing a helmet to protect your head. He wasn't wearing a helmet when Austin attacked him. I get that. Attorney Calvin Johnson, please teach some attorneys that their obligations are to their clients. Well, this is the thing, and this is what I try to explain to people. The obligations are to your clients and not to some, all these people. You ain't got to please all these people out here. And this is just what it is. And I try to tell people, I've had several conversations on the internet and even on these podcasts where people want me to agree with them. They want me to change my mind about what I'm saying. Oh, he ain't it. Ain't got to be it for you. I don't represent you. But if I'm representing a client, my client comes first. I'm not worried about you. I have to do what I need to do. It's in the best interest of that particular client to put him in the best position to land on his feet as much as he can. The guy doesn't lose responsibility because he's dead. I don't know what he means by that. Okay. Karmelo does not deserve 35 years. That's way too long of a sentence. I think that if he would have maybe humanized himself, maybe the attorney put him on the stand, maybe even doing punishment, maybe let him open his mouth and then let him know how he felt in the moment. I thought maybe he would have got less time. That's just me. How was jury going to consider self-defense when the defense did not give a self-defense claim to consider? We still to this day don't even know what Karmelo's actual claim is. See, that's the whole thing that I was saying too. If he doesn't testify, you don't know how he felt in the moment. You don't know what he felt. You didn't know exactly how he was going to go and how he felt in the moment upon which he did what he did and why he did it. I think if you put that in context of him testifying to it and how he felt in the moment, that would have been better. I love the show better than the other ones. Everybody else tries to speculate, change the facts, and argue created situations. Yeah, we're not going to do that here. I'm going to give it to you straight. And keep your hands to yourself and your might tell lie. Hey, I definitely understand that one too. Listen, I always try to tell people that's important too. You got to keep your hands to yourself. That's important. But if something happens, you can't overdo it. It was a bad decision and split settlement for both parties. Right? You're right. Two parties made some bad decisions, and unfortunately, Karmelo went overboard. Austin lost his life. Carmelo's going to be in 35 years. It's a mess. Has he ever had a client that didn't remember things properly? Oh, definitely. I definitely had clients that didn't remember things properly. So that's going to happen, but you got to try to remember things the best that you can. Why couldn't they put the spotlight in the tent? I don't know.
Hold on. The answer in court is that the video expert says that the prosecution did not ask for it. That's the reason why they didn't do it.
And y'all, I'm going to tell y'all something right now. Listen. Forever how y'all feel about the situation, I'm just coming here from a standpoint of listen. If I'm handling the case, I want to make sure that people know Mr. Anthony's side. I want to make sure that people know, if I'm representing Mr. Anthony, that he's a human being, that he was a young child. It was a young man who made a horrible decision that day to do something and to overdo it, and that he had some remorse for what he did that day. That's the best thing that you can do. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of us, what we want to do, and I'm going to tell the truth here, a lot of us are locked into this racial arguments with everything that's going on in the world. We don't want to break down. We don't want to cow down to the white man, and the black man don't want to cow down to the white man, and the white man don't want to cow down to the black man. And we have this racial tension between the two races of people. And a lot of the discourse that has went on with this case centers around that. I wouldn't have gave a damn about that when it come down to represent my client. As a black man, am I concerned about race relations in America? Yes, I am. But when it came down to Karmelo Anthony and another man lost his life, I would have looked at it as such. And I would say, Mr. Anthony, based on what the law says, you went a little too far, but you're 17 years old. You made a horrible mistake. We're going to let the jury know that you're a human being, that you're a young man that made a mistake. You have never been convicted of anything before. Somebody put their hands on you. You felt violated. You took it too far. You feel really sorry for it. You were crying on the video. Let's talk about what you felt in the moment that you were crying. Let's talk about how you felt in the moment that everything happened. Let's talk about how you felt when you went to jail and you got out. Let's talk about what you've been going through ever since you've been on bond. Let's talk about all of that. You want to humanize Mr. Anthony so that they understand what he's been going through since the incident has happened and how sorry he is for everything that has happened. And there's nothing wrong with apologizing for what happened. And see, you do something like that. When you don't do something like that, and all they hear is all this rhetoric outside between all the damn grown-ups and all these camps and people doing press conferences to serve themselves, not serving Mr. Anthony, that's how you get somebody get 35 years, man. That's how somebody get 35 years, and he becomes a sacrificial lamb for somebody else's cause. And I don't play that, so it wouldn't happen with me. Why would the autopsy report be sealed? You know, I don't know. Just kind of depends. I don't believe Karmelo, the parents raised him as current results. Okay. Where's the police interview? Okay. Enough is enough. Everybody has to go. Everybody who is 55 and older in the White House, representatives, etc. must go. What else you got, Mel? Let me see what else here. The mental gymnastics are crazy. At the end of the day, little homie stabbed someone because of a minor school altercation. I always try to tell people, man, listen, for whatever was happening, and I always try to tell people, let's say you have a son and they're at a track meet and he gets into it with another kid and he pushes a kid and he stabs your kid in the heart and your kid dies, you're gonna feel the same way you feel today? If your son was awesome, you're gonna feel the same way you feel today? I just don't think you would. I'm just gonna keep it real. That's why I said, listen, there's nothing wrong with admitting that Mr. Anthony went a little too far that day. He's a young kid. He's gonna make mistakes. Unfortunately, he just made a big mistake that day and took it a little too far. Actually took it a lot too far because the kid died. But with that being said, there's nothing wrong with admitting that and accepting responsibility and letting people know that he's a human being who made mistakes. But when you don't do that and he just sits there, he gets 35 years. That's what's gonna happen. I wouldn't have allowed that to happen. I would have showed him as a human being who made a mistake. A young man who had some promise who made a mistake. A young man who's truly sorry who made a mistake. That's what you got to do. I would have gotten up there and said I was in fear for my life, and this is why my attorney would have told me any different. I'm sorry, and would have told the whole freaking story. That's what you got to do. Bingo. If that's how you felt in the moment, say it. But that's what you got to do. But that's kind of what it is, Mel. I mean, everybody needs to cut it with the fake narratives, fake video, fake this, fake that. He was getting jumped. They're hiding something. They're hiding this. They're hiding that. At the end of the day, what is this case really about? One kid pushed another stabbed him in the heart. Kid died. All it, that's it. The other stuff is there, but the main facts cannot change. One kid put his hands on the other one and shouldn't, and the other kid took it too far. And that kid died, and currently the other kid got 35 years. Y'all can talk about tents and jumping and all this other stuff and running and all this other stuff and all this other. No. You gotta get to the facts of the crux of the facts, number one. And if you're representing Karmelo Anthony, you got to humanize your client. You cannot let your client sit there and just be a prop. Somebody that doesn't breathe, somebody with no emotion. When all these people coming in here crying, squeezing balls, crying, sitting next to their mama every time they coming in here, and you mean to tell me I'm gonna sit my client there and he's not gonna say a word? They gonna hear his voice? He's 17. He's already scared as hell. Man, you got to use your client's fear to your advantage. Use the fear to your advantage. You got to be creative. That's what I would have done. But that's just me. A little too far. No, he went well beyond what was within reason. Oh, yeah, he went too far. Nobody's saying that he did not go past where he was supposed to go. He definitely went past where he was supposed to go. I hate to say you're proving that his terms were piss poor, but let me tell you one other thing before y'all even go there. His attorneys did not make the decision on whether he testified alone. If the client says, I don't want to testify, they can't make him. Karmelo could have very well said, I'm scared to testify. I don't want to testify. I don't want to go up there. And if he says, I don't want to go up there, you can't make him. At the end of the day, he gets to make the decision. His mama could have told him, baby, I don't want you to go up there. His attorneys might have been saying, hey, I want him to go up there. I don't want my baby going up there. He could have listened to his mom or his dad or somebody else telling him not to go up there. If he doesn't go up there, you can't make him. But that's what it is, Mel. That's all I got tonight. But all this conspiracy theory stuff, y'all need to cut it out. Mel went to this trial every day. He took meticulous notes. There's other people that he talks to. They took meticulous notes. And now that all these videos are coming out, the real videos are coming out.
The gig is up.
The gig is up. You can't play games with all of the lying and stuff you're doing, all the fake pictures. And now you get to see how the DA really looks, the judge really looks. People need to learn how to avoid conflict more. Philip James 1. Let me tell you something, Philip. That's exactly what I said. You know what I posted? I posted that we have an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old that got in a minor altercation. One is dead and the other one is serving 35 years. And we got two mamas that would never get a good night's sleep for the rest of their lives. And it's not worth it. I told them, I said, my mama and grandmother and my grandfather didn't work 35 years at the factory to send me to college to get into it with somebody that I did not really know for 45 seconds to destroy the rest of my life. No, we shouldn't be teaching our kids that. But with that being said, y'all, you know, man, I can't talk all night. I got to get ready and go and actually get ready to go to court in the morning. But like I told y'all before, I literally had a client last week actually, but we got the decision today. She went too far. She got probation. She came in and apologized. She showed empathy. She humanized herself. She showed remorse. She showed reflection. We had a clear video. She apologized. These are things that are important. So to some people, those things may seem weak. But I don't care about what somebody else says because I'm not trying to please the rest of y'all. For the client's sake, if that's what's best for him to do, then that's what they should do. They need to quit worrying about these people out here and do what's best for the client. But that's all I got to say, y'all. And Mel, I'm signing off.
Okay, let's see what's happening here. Okay, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm going to take a few questions on the way out to see if you guys have any questions. We can entertain it. You guys can hear me okay? You can't hear me? Can you hear me? Yes or no? Are you guys able to hear me or no? Yes? Okay. Thank you very much for answering the question. All right. Is there any other questions related to the trial that you would like me to answer? I'll try to answer as many as possible. So now's the time. I saw a question about the trial. Let's see if I could find it really quick. Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, if you have any questions, just repost it and I'll try to answer it to you to the best of my ability. Mel, you were at the trial. Do you know what Karmelo's defense claim was? Basically, the claim is that it was self-defense. That's all. It was just as simple as that. They didn't really build out the case the way I thought they would. But they drew in on the fact that, a lot of people were upset because they tried to paint the narrative that basically Austin had essentially fell on the knife, that many people felt that way. From what I heard from different individuals that were actually testifying, is that Austin came with the force and basically he ran into Karmelo as Karmelo was trying to, I guess, defend himself. So that's basically the way the defense laid it out. Because Hudson came in, he said it was a lineman's drill. I mean, I've said it so many times. I know you guys have heard it. Another guy, Jay, says he was trying to pick him up. So they really drove in on that point to try to show that, listen, he had a good reason to feel like his life was in jeopardy. And so that's why he took those measures. So that's what we got from that. Let's see here. I think that's that's not a question. All right, Mel, what was Melo's body language like? He was shaking a lot. I think he has a health disorder, quite obvious. In court, they said he had epilepsy. He also gets seizures a lot. He was taking notes. I think you could tell he probably had a lot of fear. I mean, anybody in that type of situation would have a lot of fear. So that's what I was able to gather from him. And I think at the end of the day, maybe he felt like it would go much better than it went, probably from his attorneys. And quite frankly, from everything that I heard and observed in the courtroom, I would have imagined he would have had manslaughter, but they gave him 35 years. But I think now that he has counsel, I think there's going to be a change in this case. And people probably won't be very happy when they see it, but I think a change is coming. All right, I'll leave it at that. Okay. Hello says activity takes place prior to the shove. Yes, people are moving around. That was testified in court. Okay. Or alignments press, or maybe that was the alignments press. Okay. All right. Thank you. Lineman's press. Yes, that's what it was. Okay. Thank you. All right. Can Be Harsh says, do you believe the jury had reasonable time to make a true sentencing? I don't think so. A lot of times when I cover these court cases, the jury is under a lot of pressure. It's all on the judge. And for the most part, if the judge comes across like he wants to get things done and he wants a decision, I think it plays a key part from what I observe in the case. In this particular case, the judge was very stern. I saw him tell the jury, sit down. I mean, I hadn't seen that one before, but it was quite different, quite intimidating. And I could see it also when it came to the jurors. Okay. So, I mean, to the defense. It's been a long day, folks, but I'm going to try to push through as many comments as I can. Peggy says, do you think, and guys, hit the like button, share, and subscribe to the channel. I have so many cases I'll be covering for the rest of the year. I'm covering Chris Brown, Luigi Mangione, a lot of different cases. So if you'd like to keep up with these cases, I'll be happy to share. I do this consistently. AI, shout out to you. AI says, do you think Austin is in a better place? Oh my. All right. Shammy Poo says, have you seen AM's father's recent interview? I saw the one about the watermelon felon. I don't know if you're talking about that one or not. You would have to elaborate. Matt says, listen, you can't kill people and you need to follow simple instructions. Okay. Thanks for your comment. Hello says, he seems like a pretty sharp kid from the video. Very sharp, very smart, right? I think it was like a 3.9 GPA. So, and he was fast. I mean, I'm just giving you the facts of the story. He had a bright future too. And I know people don't want to hear that, but that's the fact of the matter. Okay. All News says, why won't they just release the school recording instead of the state evidence video? Okay. According to what you're getting off of the actual website, that is supposed to be the original video, but who knows? I can't speak on that. How would I know? Okay, let's see. Austin Metcalf grabbed a kid that had epilepsy. That's what it boils down to. People don't want to hear that, but that's what happened. And we saw how that ended. It's a terrible situation on both ends. Jimmy says 35 far cry from 99. I understand that. Elizabeth says, Mel, did you see my questions, please? Okay, Elizabeth, I'm sorry. Can you repost it? I'll get to it. I don't know how far your question is. Oh, here we go. I want to make sure I get to you. Okay, do you think he will get an appeal? I believe so. We did a lot of homework in regards to the case, and Calvin is there in that area. Even before they chose the appeal attorneys, Calvin mentioned the leading guy and how amazing he is. So I think he has one of the best attorneys in Texas, from what I can understand. So the confidence should be very high that he'll get an appeal and hopefully a new case, and they can address some of the issues like having Black folks on the jury and things like that. So you might see that coming down the pipeline. And if it does happen, hold on to your heels because he's going to get probably a different trial. Okay, P. Tang says, why do you think his lawyers didn't represent him? I can't figure that out. I can't figure it out for the life of me. I wish I could answer that question, but I walked away from this case feeling like it was a letdown. And I hate to tell you it, but that's the truth of the matter. Poppy says, second offense for having a knife and zero business being there. There are some people saying it was a second offense. I have not seen any proof of that. So I would only stick to what can be confirmed. And that's the issue we're having today. People just putting out narratives and then they cry like a baby when somebody call them out and then they want to pout. And you know how this thing goes. It's all right. It's all good. All right. Hello says, that means you know something now. Okay. Phil, shout out to you, Phil. I hope you subscribe to the channel. Thank you for all the support. It means a lot to show that you care about the message. That's important. I see John Mitchell is asking another question. That's amazing to me. After watching the trial and seeing the evidence, what would your verdict be? My verdict, I can't tell you what my verdict would be, but I would tell you it would definitely not have been anything beyond manslaughter. You didn't have proof of anything beyond that, believe me. And if you look at manslaughter, you would understand why. it's reasonable because of the circumstances. But even still, based on a lot of the facts that the mainstream media was not putting out that I heard in court that you will see in the transcripts, there was people try to fluff it off and say, oh, it was just a light push or whatever. But again, if you're in a circumstance where somebody's trying to do a lineman's drill or pick you up on some metal bleachers, there's a reasonable conclusion there that you might not get back up. All right. Especially if the guy is 100 pounds more than you, that needs to be addressed. We need to figure that out because, people, we're living in a world where people like to force other people to do things or push you around. People like attention. They want to go talk about you and pout and all that stuff and pick you up. All sorts of disrespect. So you have to be able to, and see the thing about this case, and maybe I'm wrong, I'll accept it, but they made it murder one because he's saying to the guy, touch me and find out. I've heard that all my life. I think sitting at school, I've heard it so many times. That's what the young kids say. Okay, come and hit me and you're going to find out, right? That's like a warning. Stay over there and you'll be safe, okay? So that's something, it is what it is. People don't want to hear it, but it's just human nature, right? It happens. You want to tell people, don't come over here messing with me or you're going to, you won't like it. What's the difference in saying that? Anyway, Poppy says it's been 1 year. That's plenty of time. Okay, not sure what exactly. Blaze says, I wonder why the judge had a time span on the case. Because he probably knew the outcome. He was expecting the outcome. And, listen, I don't think Karmelo chose to have his hair cut off. To me, that was a message to the gladiators, okay? I could be wrong, but there's more than meets the eye to this case. So I sat through it. That was my experience, and that's how I feel about it. Okay, David says he should have gotten life without parole. Some people feel that way. I can't speak for you. I can only speak for the facts that I heard in the case and hearing about his remorse, and he didn't really intend to kill the guy. He was trying to get him to back up off him. The defense said he made a split minute decision, all right? You may not agree with it, but this is life and things happen, and there's probably a reason. John says you should do the Rodney Hinton case, okay? All right, I'll do that. Thank you. You subscribe, John, I'll do the case, all right? That's all I ask. Justin says it's not fair how everybody's picking on those murderers. Okay. All right. Not fair. Thanks for your comment. New Jerseyan says like, share, and subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Thank you to all the moderators. You guys have done an amazing job tonight. There was a lot of people just coming in. They were sent by the flying monkeys, so it is what it is. So, we just take it on. We just deal with it. Gold Digger says, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications to get the great Watching the World new content. Thank you very much. Grumpy says, are you covering the Upper State New York Smurf case? I will have to look into that, Grumpy. I'll check it out. Jimmy says, we can't defend a person who kills another. Whether he meant to, stabbing someone is wrong. It's ungodly to do that. Yes, indeed. I agree with that. Great comment. You're right on the point. But sometimes things happen in life when people, I don't want to go there. It's all good. I get your point, but life isn't always simple, okay? Shammy Poo says, on Fox today. What does that mean? Okay, I'll look and see. Let me make sure I check it out. I wouldn't be surprised. When I sit here, I have to expect to be on just about anything. So it is what it is, right? ZV says Austin Metcalf used his legs to squeeze Carmelo's body to drag Karmelo to the ground. Karmelo pushed him away out of a choke, okay? Okay. All right. Thanks for your comment. The presidential touch says both had the bright future. That's the truth of the matter. And just in seconds, their lives are upside down or no more. It's a sad event. Canby Harsh says, could the defense attorney be sued for him not doing good for Karmelo? I think there are ways where you can file a grievance, but as far as being sued, I would rather leave that question for criminal defense attorney Calvin Johnson. Maybe if he's still listening, he can just type you an answer. All right, thank you for that. KC says, what sentence length would you be happy with if it were your child killed? That's a good question. That's a good question. That would probably be a different outcome. All right, Poppy says, will you be speaking about the Walmart incident? I will cover that. I hadn't thought about it, but I'll try. Lastly, is Karmelo new attorney from out of state? No, he's right there. Calvin knows him. He's out of, the lead attorney is right there out of Texas, and he's one of the best to do it in the state, from what I've heard. Philip says he will lose an appeal. I'm not so sure of that. I think you have to have a waiting attitude because, listen, it's quite possible, based on the attorneys that he's chosen, but anything is possible. So I understand what you're saying. Loretta says we're in Texas. Okay. All right. Good to see you, Loretta. Thank you for being here. I see you are following the channel greatly. I hope you subscribe to the channel. Look forward to building with you. All News says it's sad, but Austin's father had a bad attitude. Normally, if it's son like father. Okay. I didn't necessarily detect that, but I understand your viewpoint. I haven't been around him and talked to him, so I can't really speak on it. I only saw some brief interviews. Alan Girl says public paid lawyer. Okay. All right. User says, why didn't he take the 10-year deal? We're not sure if he was actually offered a 10-year deal. That is a rumor. Not sure. I usually try to stay away from anything that I can't really substantiate with proof. Alan Girl says, no, he's not. Okay. Loretta says, ask me. I know. Okay, Loretta. So what do you think about Karmelo? Do you think he's going to win an appeal? I think that's the question, right? You're saying ask you, so that's the question. Can you answer it? If you'd like to come up, Loretta, you can and answer it. I'll drop the link for you. But if you just want to answer in the comments, the questions are continuing to come, but I'll stay with it. Okay. Okay. Island Girl says 35 years isn't long enough. Okay. Yes, Empress, peace to you. Thank you very much for being here. Guys, go back and check out the show when you can. I went through the entire case. I show you all the facts of the matter in connection to what we saw in court and heard in court, and I also tie it to other content creators who were in court. There's a storm in the air right now, but truth shall prevail, and all this noise will fade, because we're certified over here. All right, so that's my answer. Peggy says, some people, let me be cool. Okay, Peggy says he will not get an appeal. There were blacks called, but they admitted they could not be neutral. Okay, all right. Peggy, what about the 3 black ladies that basically, I guess they were struck because they were educators? Tell us about that. Can Be Harsh says, I seen someone else on YouTube. He got a big panel of attorneys. Okay. Very good. All right. Thank you. All right. Elizabeth says, thank you, Mel, for answering my question. He deserves a good defense. Yes, indeed. I believe so. D2670 says, you said now that he has counsel, Did he not have counsel during the trial or ineffective counsel? What I mean by that is now that he has counsel, that the new dream team that he has, I guess it came out today. So I'm referring to them. After this new case, he would have to have acquire attorneys, and that's what he did. So that's what I mean. All right. He acquired attorneys. Okay. Okay. So D2670 says, okay, I covered that. Gold Digger, thanks for all you do. It's amazing. Thanks for being here. Philip says his parents should owe the money back to the victim. Okay. Thanks for your opinion. David says how he appeals and his sentence get raised to life. That's always a possibility. Sorry, guys, I've been talking a long time. Because if he gets a new trial, that's always a possibility. But we have to see how this turns out. Okay. All News says, yeah, a push don't come with no black eye. Okay. Thank you very much. Mickey says, outstanding live, watching the world. Right. Now, I know where you're coming from. A push, right, doesn't give you a black eye, but a fall would, okay? And also a lineman drill would give you that, okay? And also somebody snatching you up, you don't know how they collided. So it's not that simple if that's what the point is. I'm just saying there was enough activity to give you a black eye. But if somebody punches you, your lips should be busted and you should be roughed up pretty bad, but that's even subjective. All right. Okay. D26 says he did not set out to kill the bully, just defend himself. There were 3 or 4 surrounding him. He was in fear. Now, that's a solid answer. And I know people don't want to hear it, right? But that's a person that thinks on their feet. Okay? So the element of someone surrounding, that's there. But you can't go adding, somebody had him in a headlock. Somebody kicked it. Anyway, I can't help some people. It's just insane. All right. Hunter says, no, Huntera. Okay. Huntera says, making excuses is a sleazy look, justifying murder because the skin color is despicable. Yes, you are wrong. Okay. Thank you for your opinion. I'm explaining what happened with the case. I don't expect everybody to like it, but this is what I observed in court. It was more to this case than meets the eye, and it is what it is. Peggy says he could have left instead of killing someone. Good point, Peggy. Right on the point. Good. P. Tang says that's why he should have had at least one black person. They're not going to have that. That's for sure. That was quite clear that was not going to happen, right? One person could have turned this whole case around, and that was not on the agenda, but that's just my opinion. I'm sorry if you don't like it. And I'm not talking to you. I'm just talking at large. Okay, Steve Johnson says, so if he had a gun, would it have been okay to shoot him? Okay, good question. First Lady says, Peggy, here's a question for you. So, Steve, that's your second time around. And we're talking about the proportion of the force, right? So you're comparing, and I'm not trying to justify this, but I'm just, since you're coming with questions, Karmelo responded with deeper force, bigger force than what Austin provided, right? But they try to say this is based on him saying some words to Austin. So I'm asking you, is it okay if a child, let's say on Tuesday, they make jokes back and forth, but then on Wednesday, the coach says you're off the team and you need to work on your life. So now you're upset. That same kid that you were joking with yesterday or 10 days before now comes in your tent and he just thinks it's what it was last time. And he starts joking with you. But because the coach is on your back, now you're upset, right? Is it okay for you to come with a deeper force and pick him up and try to body slam him on a metal bleacher? So you answer that, Steve, because that goes along with your questioning, okay? Nobody's saying it's right, but you got to look at it. Since you want to go there, we can talk about it a little deeper. First Lady says, Peggy, I don't think he was trying to kill him. That's very clear by the way he ran. He didn't try to flee the event. He ran to the coaches. It's very clear. Even when the big coach, Hooper, let him go to go talk and see what was happening, he didn't try to run away. Okay. So it's very clear that he wasn't what the prosecution was trying to make him out to be. Okay. Let's see here. We're taking so many questions are coming in. John Mitchell says, why wouldn't the warning someone mean you already know what's going to happen when the touch happens? That shows intent and forethought. That was the argument of the state, right? But my question to you is, if somebody is, they're trying to come to you and they're bigger than you and they're bringing force, what are you going to say? You want them to run? That's what you want? I just want to know, what's your answer? Okay. All right. So Phil says the prosecution only needs to meet one requirement for unalive, or you could use the word, intend to cause serious bodily injury and commit an act of clearly dangerous to human life and causes of death of an individual. Good point. Thank you, Phil. Thanks, Phil. You sound like you might be in the legal field. Great questions and great answers. Donna says the jury got it right. Okay. Very good. Thank you for your point of view. Blaze says, touch me and find out is a warning to leave folks alone. Okay. I mean, what are you going to say? You got to say something. In fact, in this case, the guy Tion said he told Austin, don't go over there because I feel like Karmelo has a knife. He said he could feel it in the air. And actually, I want to stay away from the names. But anyway, yeah, so he was warned. The point of the matter is Austin was warned. Austin says, I don't think he has a knife because we live in Frisco, and proceeded to go over and do what you saw in the video. And he was going to snatch him up. Peggy says, don't stab someone in the heart. Everyone knows where the heart is. Okay. All right. Thank you. The presidential truth says, weren't his parents supposed to get him the best lawyer with all the money they got? I can't really speak on that. There's a big debate about the money and who got what, but now we're in the weeds because I don't want to push a wrong or false narrative like some people do. All right, we're about to bring up DJ Genesis. Where are you? I guess you are gone. Okay. Oh, man, I thought you were here. I thought we had a guest. I don't see her anymore. Okay. All right. We have a few more questions. John says, I appreciate your takes. Already liked and subscribed. Thanks for answering my questions. All right, John, I like the way you ask questions, your comments. Would love to have a debate with you. Obviously, a friendly debate. Okay. Steve Johnson says, okay, there will be no appeal. Okay. All right, Steve, I'm going to tag you there, and we're going to see how truthful that turns out. See how sharp you are, Steve. We'll try to remember this day. Hopefully you hang around with us, so I'll remember to have this conversation with you in the future. Peggy says, I don't care. I think he will still do time. I can understand your position, and thank you very much. Gold Digger, okay. Let's see. Stewart says, listen, sir, that video of those 4 young men attacking him is telling, and all the white jury, my brother, is just out of the question. If he was really the instigator of the altercation, then why did your question is cut off? Peggy says, Texas, that is why I know how things goes. Okay, so Peggy is saying it's not going to happen. I've dropped the link, DJ. I thought you came up. I saw you, but you're no longer there. Okay. All right. First Lady says, and for the individual Stewart, I already went through the video. I respect your position on it, but you could go back and check out at least to find out where people were sitting. Paisley says, thanks, Mel. Shout out to you. I hope you subscribe to the channel, Paisley. Nice to have you here. Twitch says, if you bring a knife to a fist fight, you're a coward. and you know you're wrong. I can understand that. But not everybody. I respect what you're saying. Bob says, where's all of the money his parents begged for? I can't speak on that. Queen says, so why did they approach Karmelo? I went over that earlier in the video. I really don't want to go through it again. But if you go back and check out, I break it down how this whole thing kicked off. According to the earliest testimony that we have of how it set off with Eddie. Jacksonville says the arrest video tells a different story than what everyone is telling, that Karmelo Anthony was getting bullied by a gang of whites. But when he was arrested, he is saying, I told him not. That was my whole point of this show. So you and I, we're on the same page. And it's nice to see somebody that really gets it. But still, there was enough there between him and Austin that I feel like a better case could have been made for him. That wasn't. Okay, so that's my only point. Loretta says he has 5 new lawyers. Yeah, I have them pulled up. If you guys want to see it, I would show it. But I'm trying to get through these comments now. Peggy says a knife on a school campus with murder, not good appeal material. Okay. Sounds good, Peggy. You seem like you are on top of your game. Thank you. First Lady says, you see, Peggy, they made these laws for you all, but they didn't intend for it to go the other way. It was supposed to be for Karmelo hitting him and Austin taking his life. It doesn't happen that way. Okay, the role reversal is what she's stating. Let's see. First Lady, I assume, is a woman. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. Patriot says he took a knife to the track meet to stab somebody. Just provoked Austin first. That's the argument that the prosecution was making. Poppy says, thanks for actually reading through the comments, giving everyone a chance to be heard. I salute you. I liked and subscribe. And guess what? I didn't beg you for a super chat, right? Unbelievable. Twitch says, I have been jumped before. I didn't kill anyone. I took the fixed L and went home. Yes, indeed. That's how it goes sometimes, right? That's the truth of the matter. Back in the day, you could take a L easy or give an L. That's the way life goes, right? Sometimes you eat the bear, sometimes the bear eats you, okay? Patriotic says he's guilty. Another trial won't do anything. Okay, I respect how you feel about it. Loretta says yes, okay. Paul says Anthony wasn't supposed to be at a school event and definitely shouldn't have a weapon. If he followed these 2 things, 2 young men would still have their whole lives ahead of them. Thank you, Paul, for your comment. I understand where you're coming from. Peggy says, what about you? I don't understand what that means. What okay you are? Okay, I don't understand. All right, Bob says the parents stole his $600,000 from GoFund. Okay, I don't know anything about that. I can't push that narrative. Jacksonville says this new defense team is not looking at the crime, but if any mistakes were made by the courts, so they can get a retrial. Okay, I think that's what they're trying to do, is get a retrial. He has a great team of attorneys, and I think it looks rather promising for him, although I respect how many of you feel. George says, what did Karmelo tell his coach? He said to the coach, the black guy, Vincent, let's see. Let me get his name right. His name is Vincent Hooper. He told him, he said he touched me first. That's what he told him. So that's what he told that coach, all right? He touched me first. Something like that. Sorry. DP says there will be no new trial. A lot of people are saying that. I respect how you feel. Peggy says, don't the defense get to pick the jury? Yes. Calvin broke that down. Thank you very much, Peggy. First Lady says, as a parent, I definitely wouldn't get on social media making racist comments. Absolutely. And I would definitely not want to have my children or anybody else doing that type of behavior. Okay, Peggy says, I know someone that got 20 years for assault, served 17 and a half years of the 20. Was that a federal case, Peggy? Because the feds, they make you do at least 80%, 80 or 85% of your time, right? Roughly. I think it is, yeah. Does a shove deserve a response of deadly force? Probably not a shove, but you have to factor in all the circumstances. Let me make sure you're not deadly force. Yeah, I could break that down, but it's going to get so complicated. So let me stay away from that. I get your point. I'll leave it there. Deadly force is when somebody's trying to pick you up and drop you on your head. Okay? So you got to factor that into the equation. That's all I'm saying. Purple flower. You have a reasonable, right, conclusion that you might break your neck or you may not get back up. It is what it is. Okay, Matthew says Carmelo killed someone and he should get off lightly. And y'all are just saying that just because he's black and his victim was white. That's not what's being said here tonight. Maybe you just have come in and you have your own philosophy about what's being said. All right. Thank you. World's Outreach says, great job tonight. Shout out to you. Thank you. Match says, free Carmelo. Free Carmelo. Okay. Jacksonville says, effective counsel would have been $650,000. That was raised through the GoFundMe. I see exactly where you're going with that. Okay. Thanks for your comment. Matthew says, I won't even bother with that. Matthew, are you okay? Cisco says, if it's about color, it's racist. Okay. We could debate that, but tonight's not the night for that. Michael says, how in the hell does a man stab another man and kill the man and not get convicted of murder? I think it's manslaughter is on the table based on the circumstances, right? So that's how. Okay. Alice says, that's bullshit. No one surrounded him. Okay. I made that argument too. So, but you have to realize that based on how he was sitting, he was surrounded indeed. And he was surrounded by individuals, whether they were sitting or standing, that were asking him to leave. And so there's a reasonable conclusion there that this could have been really tough for him. So you have to factor it in, right? That's only natural. Matthew says when Carmelo was in handcuffs, he kept saying, I told him not to touch me, and he touched me, not to no one else touching him. That's the point I've been making all night. So finally, we have some people that are really honing in on the point that I made. I really do appreciate that as I finish out. Cisco says, if it's about skin color, it's racist. Okay, everybody's on a racist kick. All right. Bill says he put the knife in his pocket and proves intent. Okay. That's already false. We're already on a bad track. It wasn't in his pocket. If you're afraid of being jumped, you go tell the authorities when you put that knife in your pocket, you intended to deal with it on your own. That's not necessarily true. I don't agree with that. The defense could have made an argument that he went camping. They said he loved camping. He could have went camping the night before and forgot and left a tool inside of his bag. I mean, there's so many arguments they could have made. They didn't make any argument. I'm just saying it's not so straight-laced. First Lady says 35 years isn't long enough because you're evil. Okay. Mark says, so a guy saying, touch me and see what happens, be a response of someone in fear, all while he had his hand on a murder weapon. Okay. I understand that. Cisco says, if it's about skin, well, this one comment it keeps coming up. It's got to go. Okay, Casey says the publicity these new attorneys are getting invaluable. This is their Super Bowl. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Carpadine says, keep your hands to yourself because you never know how someone will react to your threat. That's so true. See, that's how you use intelligence to preserve your life. Cisco says, if it's about skin color, Jesus Christ, let me take care of this here. All right. We won't have that problem. Okay, let me see. Okay, we have Queen says, I heard the deceased kid's dad was on a podcast and had lots of derogatory things to say about Black people. If this is true, the kid was probably just like his dad. All right, thank you for your comment. I see where you're going with that. Thank you. John says, Mel, I've been surrounded by 4 guys and I was armed and still walked away. You're a noble man, John. Thank you for your comment. First Lady says, Peggy is a true-hearted. Okay, I can't get into that. Johnny Deep says, here's what I don't see being discussed. Okay, why did he bring his book bag that he had a knife in it to an opposing team's tent? As far as the book bag go, he brought the book bag because his belongings were in the book bag. They showed us all the belongings. So the real question would be, why was there the multi-purpose tool or knife in the bag? All right, I just want to state it because each side framed it a different way. Not Interested said the problem isn't Black Americans or white Americans. The problem is Americans, okay? Dirk says there should be a law against bullying and others should be charged. He should be free. Okay, rest in peace to the bully, okay? All right. Bill says he threatened somebody with a knife at a school a week earlier. This boy had issues. I would need that to be substantiated. I can't peddle just, talking points that come. See, this is the whole reason why I had this show, because people are just taking words from random people off the street or whoever. We need to have something to back up what we're saying. Peggy says, no, I don't like weapons on school campus and murder. That is not racist. Okay, that's a good argument. M. Wallen, I was looking for you. Good to see you. This is so very painful in every way. Yes, indeed. Rest in peace to Austin. It's a tough situation. We're not trying to condone or take away from this in any way, but we're simply going through the facts that were discussed in court so you can understand, because mainstream media only gives you one side to this. Bill says, no Black is ever guilty. As far as the Black community is concerned, it's pretty consistent. Okay. All right. Twitch says, only trying to make it okay because Metcalf was white. Okay. Johnny Deep says he didn't slice at him. He stabbed him right in the chest. Okay. All right. In my opinion, says Peggy is a no. Okay. All right. I can't get into that. Guys, we got to keep this about this case and don't attack people. Right. That's how things go left, because we want to attack, let's just keep it cool. Right. Mark says he stabbed him in. Okay. All right. That's the one I covered. Not Interested said, sorry. Jesse says, if the boy killed a Black kid, the parents and the community would be happy he got 35 years. I truly understand that. Don says, death penalty. Okay. Didn't happen. Toon says, why it wouldn't necessarily be binding, but anything other than a guilty of murder verdict in this case would be careless precedent and wholly irresponsible. Okay, thank you for this comment. Toon, I hope you subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for your participation. Johnny Deep says, when you are told to leave 16 times in 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. That number is sketchy, and it needed to be clarified if it I think the question in court was, how many times did Austin ask him to leave? If the person answered for all the people sitting around, but Eddie said, according to his testimony, he was asked to leave by Austin 3 to 4 times. So obviously, these stories are not jiving. In fact, the prosecution told us in court that the witnesses' stories would not totally match. They also told us that the timestamp on the videos would not totally match. And that's why I showed you guys on the body cam video of the police officer that his body cam video said February the 10th, 2016. But it was April the 2nd, 2025. Explain that, right? Obviously, it could probably be explained, but they should have done a good job at explaining that. And why does that have to exist since your technology is so great? Mark says he did have to run. He could have walked out. Okay, good point. Good point. Don says he said he got jumped and fight back. Okay. Where did he say that at, Don? Where did he say that, Don? We need you to produce the facts. This is the issue we're having. People are just coming up with claims. So, Don, all you have to do is post a link down here at the bottom. I'll pick it up and we'll go look at it. But now it's your time. All right. I'm here for it. So let's get to it. Show us where it's facts, because that's not in court. All right. Paul says Karmelo Anthony wasn't even supposed to be there. He was suspended from school sporting event. I don't think that's true. But if you can show me again, you have to give me some sort of basis for that argument. I respect what you're saying. I appreciate your support. But some of these things that we're hearing in the streets and we're saying it's not accurate, and it takes away from the case. Knight says part of self-defense, and this is no shot at you, Paul. I'm just saying you probably got it from someplace. Or it might be true. So just drop the link, give me the information, and I will definitely look into it and present it. Night says part of self-defense is evidence of trying to escape the situation. That is so true. Anybody that has taken martial arts know that that's what they teach you. I can vouch for that. First Lady says in the Bible, it says to honor your mother and your father, and your days will be shortened. And Austin's days were definitely shortened. He broke his father's arm. Well, now, I don't think people want to talk about that. So I'm going to just leave that where it hangs there, okay? Ken says, according to the text messages from Austin coach, he gave him leadership responsibility. That's what a leader does, show how to mishandle your chosen responsibilities. So I can touch on that a little bit. And this is where I get into the weeds with my opinion a little bit. Give me a moment. Coach Starr came into court. He's a black fella. And he said that basically Austin was underperforming, not living up to his responsibilities. So he was kicked off the team. And the day he lost his life, you guys saw the transcripts of the messages of what he told him, right? He needs to be a leader or step his game up. But again, the argument that was made by many that I've seen is that does not give you the right to go grab somebody and throw them out of the tent or pick them up and drop them on his head or something like that. So that's the bottom line of that segment of this story, just cutting out a slice. And also, I've already broken it down, so I won't go there. I'll just leave that alone. It's okay. I don't want to get into too many. There's so many questions. I won't break things down. Johnny says, why isn't a warning to him being told to leave 15 times? That's very debatable because other witnesses said a different number. So I have to factor in all of the witness testimony. In 4 minutes, I don't even want to get too deeply into that, but I think you get my drift. Don says there's no evidence of self-defense. Okay, that's your opinion. All News says he was warned twice, I see. Okay, all right. Paul says, why was Anthony even there? He was suspended from school sporting events. It's not true. It's not true. That's a false narrative. Okay. If that was the case, they would have easily put that in the opening arguments. The guy came to school while he was kicked out. No, it was the opposite way around. The only person that was mentioned really as being suspended or removed for some time was Austin. Okay, Johnny, and this is according to the court. All right, you'll see it when the transcripts come out. You could kind of see it with the text messages. I don't have time to go over it, from the coach to one of his assistants in regards to Austin. It's in the exhibits. You could easily pull it up. John says, my response to if I wanted him to run, yes, he ran anyways. He could have punched him and ran the same. The knife was not necessary. I truly understand that. I do. Santa says, these are young men at school. Track meet, nobody should have lost their life. Had Karmelo followed the rules, he wouldn't be in prison and Austin would still be living his life. Okay, thank you. I think that's a repeat comment. Okay, First Lady says he was a bully. Carpe Diem says, keep your hand to yourself or be willing to accept the consequences. Cause and effect. P-Tank says, so that means he had authority to attack someone? No way. I just broke that down. Phil says, this happens too often where we are killing each other over the stupidest of stuff. Yes, indeed. So true. Speak on it, Phil. Preach all about it. Uber says Anthony needs to be in jail for life. I respect how you feel. I respect that, but it's not the reality. Not interested says worse than knives won. World War II is non-negotiable. Self-defense is mandatory. All right. Thank you for your comment. Bourbon says, I hope that both families can find some peace now. Yes, indeed. That's very important. Peace is prime. Matthew says, y'all are so ignorant, okay? Be nice to the crowd, Matthew. We want everybody to feel safe. Mike says, cry about it, okay? Jesse says, the parents use the money for Carnival cruises and renting new homes, okay, for $10,000 a month, all right? We can't speak on those points because we don't really know. A lot of that is just rumors in the rumor mill. Mark says, but you can speak on other narratives, but when it comes to the money of parents made off a tragedy, you cannot comment. That is called collective outrage. No, I can't speak on, I'm speaking on the facts in court. They didn't talk about how much money the parents had in court. So that's a different show, probably a show that I won't get into because I'm not concerned about the parents and how they spend their money. I just go to court and cover cases. Had it been in court, I'd be talking all about it. Santa Cruz says, should the consequences be death? Okay. Apparently, the jury so far did not feel that way. Uber says Anthony should get the death. Oh, my. Santa Cruz says, is that what you will teach your children? That's a very good question. All right. In my opinion, says, what don't they understand? Okay. Thank you. I would teach my child to follow the rules. Okay. Mike says he should have been charged for having a weapon on school property. Mike, was he charged for that? That's the question, right? That's the big question. Was he charged for that? Okay. And if he wasn't, then why? There had to be perhaps a reason for that, right? Gold Digger says you can go to the Give, Send, Go platform, and it will give information on how the money was spent. All right, Gold Digger, thank you very much for dropping some facts. All right, people that annoy you, okay, thank you. Carpe Diem says they don't get it. All right. Aaron says, saying that a teen deserves to die because he put his hands on someone else, that is horrible view. I totally respect that. Right? I totally respect it. It's not really normal. Uber says the parents should be sued for wrongful death by the victim's family. Okay, you can talk to criminal defense attorney Calvin Johnson when he's back on the show. Just tune back in. He'll be back on throughout the week, and especially on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Okay, DJ says it's illegal to bring an... Okay, I covered that. People. All right, guys, please don't spam. I'm trying to get through the comments here. All right, DJ says Karmelo went under the tent. No, he sat on the back row just beyond the tent. That's where he sat. He was not under the tent. That was testified to in court. Paul says, bottom line, he should not have been there. Okay, many of the kids said that they would do that. Because let's say, for instance, Karmelo had 2 events that day, one at 10, one at 3. He would be walking around mingling. That was very common to the kids there. And we had that as testimony in court several times. Okay. First Lady says, it's not their tent. And that seems to be the problem. You guys think everything belongs to you. All right. Thank you, First Lady. Carpe Diem says, you can't choose how someone will respond to you initiating the act of violence. Okay, Carpe Diem, good point. D2 says, why didn't the bully get a coach to ask Karmelo to leave? Why did the bully even want him to leave in the rain? Okay, thank you for your comment. D2670. Not interested said, Trump's wanted Karmelo to lose. Okay. Uber says the victim's parents should sue Anthony's family. Okay, we went through that before. People definitely defending Karmelo are trolls. Okay, kind of sense we have some trolls here. Okay, we definitely have people repeating themselves. Okay, Grumpy says, have none of you ever been in a high school? Nothing has changed. Everyone has a clique and not everyone is welcome. That's so true. That is so true. Thank you for bringing some reasoning to this, Grumpy. All right, let's see. Man, we have so many more. That's all the comments I could take today. Oh, my, geez, I was way behind. All right, do I see any question marks? I don't see any question marks. I see a lot of statements. If I see a question mark, I'll jump on it. No question marks. Okay. Oh, here we go. Why did Austin break his father's arm? Okay, I can't answer that. All right. That's out of the scope. That's in the weeds. We stay out of the weeds, folks. All right. Thank you for tuning in. I hope I answered some of your questions to the best of my ability. Okay, so let's see here. I want to address the butterfly voice. She says, I don't even see how they can keep saying that the aggressor was the one who didn't touch anyone first. Okay, all right. Thank you for your comment. When you ask those type of questions, people avoid those type of questions. Okay, we have to be able to ask all of these questions. I'm glad you asked that. Right. Peggy says, don't tell me I don't know. Okay, what I would do. Okay. All right. Let's see here. I think that's all, folks. So it's been a long day. And I just want to make a closing statement to you guys. I really do appreciate it. It looked like we had a lot of trolls here. And then all of a sudden, all of that fizzled. And then we had great conversation. Even in the questions, I didn't find a lot of offensive questions. And I found that to be amazing. I want you guys to know that sometimes on YouTube, they block some of your comments. It's not me. All right. Usually I'm trying to run the show and tell you guys what's happening. The butterfly says, Mel, I know they got to exhaust you on a daily. Yeah, I'm fighting many different teams all at once. And then today I heard I was on television and they're talking about me too. You know what my message is to all of them? I say, God bless America. All right. That's it for you. That's all the energy you're going to get out of me because It's not worth it, folks. At any rate, here's what my message is. Here at Watching the World, we have all types of people. And I want to talk to you guys straight. We have Republicans, Democrats, Christians, Muslims, whatever you want to name it, right? Nobody else has the edge over you or anyone else, right? The sooner we could figure that out, the better life would be, okay? And I don't care how rich you are. Some of us are very rich individuals. It's a beautiful situation, right? But here's the thing about it. All it takes is one visit to the doctor's appointment, and then your whole life is upside down. So everything is just relative, is subject, right? We're all just living on borrowed time. It's in the best interest of all of us to try to get along as best as possible, because going to war, right, doesn't do much good, right? Especially when it's our neighbor. Imagine if you go on your block, and I've had it happen. People really want to test you, and every day you got to fight your neighbor. At some point, you dread coming and pulling on the block, right? It's just too much going on, especially every day in the chat. All we get is people. I get one group saying, oh, give him life, give him death. You know what I mean? Then I get another group, oh, there's 4 people and this and that. And I'm trying to tell them, listen, this case could have been successfully a manslaughter case just if the defense had did a good job in establishing the self-defense. And I know people don't want to hear it, but it is what it is, okay? Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Will he get an appeal? Well, he has great attorneys. We'll see what happens. But at any rate, I have to, before I leave, I have to get this point out there. I'm not condoning bringing a weapon to any place where it's prohibited that we learned in court. All right, so get that very clear before you leave. I don't want you to walk away saying, well, this is biased and you think it's okay. No, I'm simply today going through the facts of the case because I actually sat through the trial. I listened to it, and then I come out of court and I hear the mainstream media just saying things that's not even in court. And then other people are coming up with all of these narratives about jumping and all this stuff. It wasn't in court. Does it mean it didn't happen? Well, you could debate about it because the video is so blurred. Could there have been an element of him being jumped because he's surrounded? Maybe he felt like he could have been jumped, right? I've been in that situation. You can't tell a person how they feel, right? None of us are lords over other people. And the problem is we don't mind our own business. And we're always meddling in other folks' affairs. Then when things go left, sometimes they go all the way left. And that's what happened in this case, right? So the key point here is people's kids are confused. They don't know how to act under certain situations, emotional issues, and all of that. So that's why parents are needed to help their children to develop to be good citizens that know how to navigate through life following rules and also respecting other people's space. Because not everybody's going to give you that second chance, right? Some people, you don't know what they're thinking or what they're capable of. So I tend to try to mind my business, right? I think that's a good way to go. Thank you guys for tuning in. I just want to say we need to cut out some of this insanity that we're having in the comment section, because it's just like, okay, let me just go in the chat and just start calling the next guy names. We really need to come off of that and learn how to behave, because when the kids do it and then it goes too far, now we want to sit around and judge about, oh, this is what they should have done, or he shouldn't have gotten that, right? And you see what Peggy says, impulse control is important. It appears both sides failed on that. So I'm going to leave with that message. And I'm just asking that you guys continue to support the channel. If you find it a place where you can receive accurate information despite what the clouds might say, right? Thank you very much for this. We have amazing moderators here. If you came late, despite what you might hear, if you go through this video, I guarantee you, you're going to see Karmelo was not in the tent when the twins arrived. And that's the whole house of cards that these lies are based on. When I clarified that point, that's what makes them mad. Oh my God, I look like a damn fool. Let me go talk bad about him. Let me discredit him because he's killing my nonsense. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, I don't want to get into that. Have a good night, everybody. It's been a long day. You can tell I'm probably had enough of this. I'm still talking, but I'm trying to show up for you guys. And I hope you guys have a great night. We'll see you back tomorrow for News at Noon, where we talk about politics, namely the President of the United States. And Iran is the prime topic. We're also still looking for the Epstein files. We can't seem to find them. Maybe one of you guys can lead us in the right direction. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys sincerely. At the end of the day, my heart goes out to Austin. He lost his life, closed the portal for grandkids, all of that. It's a shame. On the other hand, you have Karmelo behind bars for 35 years. He was both of them very talented young men who had their whole lives ahead of them. And now we're sitting around talking and trying to be the judge, figuring everybody else's life out when we all could do better as humans. Thank you.
Different voices, but the same song. Living a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the flame remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days inside. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.